player to play Warlock by just including Warlock in every single one of the class groupings that are available. Conversely, if a class is overrepresented, let's just say, I don't know, Priest, for example, you could force every player in the tournament not to play Priest by not including Priest in any of the class groupings that are available. You could even do things like pair classically aggro classes alongside classically control classes, which would force players to demonstrate a range of skills. There really are myriad options that you can present to players to make them think outside of the box. And then the layers really start to appear. If you notice that every available set of classes has a Warlock in it, do you build a full anti-Warlock strategy, safe in the knowledge that every opponent you face is 100% guaranteed to have Warlock in their lineup, and you can just beat up on that Warlock and prevent it from getting its required conquest win? Do you make your own Warlock something annoying and off-meta to prevent your opponents from being able to do the same thing to you? But there will be plenty of time for deeper strategy breakdowns during our debut broadcast, which you should absolutely watch, by the way, youtube.com/Hearthstone Esports. In short, Trio format allows a tournament organizer to present a unique, tricky, crunchy puzzle to players to try and solve for each individual tournament or each week of play that they have to face, really putting their game knowledge and their deck building to the test. So that is all you need to know. What is your first impression of the Trio format? What groupings do you think the Hearthstone Esports team are going to throw at our players for our trial week in Grandmasters? Will this format last longer than Specialist? Give me the answer to all those questions, and any questions you might have, put them down below in the comment section, and make sure to hit the subscribe button on the Hearthstone Esports YouTube so that you do not miss a single event in what is sure to be an absolutely packed year of Hearthstone Esports content. Thanks everyone, and take care.
No, he's pumping, he's fist pumping, he did it! Oh my gosh. 72 damage both times. Both times he left damage on the board.
Where is card's green? Right for where is card's green? He got there!
Oh,
sick!
It's so powerful, all these rushes. I can't even believe the value he's got.
Lavi with a pop-off, well deserved. He stays in for another series.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to week number 2 of Hearthstone Grandmasters for the Americas region. My name is TJ. I'm joined by Neil Lorinda Bond, my constant co-caster, and apparently Ravens as well, which, you know, I'm slightly upset about, Neil. You know.
I ran, TJ. I just ran from my house back to Americas just to get here. 4,500 miles in 10 minutes. It's got to be a record.
Is it really that long? Is it really that far?
I think it's
a big ocean.
Yeah.
Big ocean. But yeah, we're back for another week. We're back with another format as well, which is cool. If you tuned into Europe or Asia Pacific earlier in the day, you got to see it in action. But before we jump into that, of course, we're going to be giving you an overview of what Grandmasters is. Much different from what you've come to expect last year. Instead of a 7-week regular season plus 1 week of playoffs, we now have 3-week regular season plus a 4th week of playoffs, so cut down considerably. We're still doing a weekly dual tournament into a top 8 single elimination. We're still giving away points, and we're still advancing the top 8 point earners to playoffs. And cool thing about this year, or this season, I guess, Neil, is that all the 3 weeks of the regular season have a different format that's rotating week to week, which is sick.
Yep, a trio of formats, you could even say. There's 3 of them, and we're doing trio this week, and it's like layers upon layers of formatting inside formatting.
Wow.
Got him already.
Called it trio. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've come to learn over watching Asia Pacific and Europe this is not about Trio. So actually, I'm going to save this point until a little bit later, because right now it's time to talk about Trio. What Trio is, if you didn't just watch Soddle have an entire video explaining it, is that the Hearthstone Esports team chose 5 groups of predetermined classes. Not predetermined decks, predetermined classes. And each player had to pick one of those buckets of classes. And they were forced to play those 3 classes in that bucket, whichever one they choose. They did it blindly, so they didn't know what anybody else was going to pick. And then from there, they effectively play Conquest. They build a deck with those 3 predetermined classes. There's no bans because you only have 3, so you just play the 3 that you build. And then they play a Conquest format where you need to win with each of those decks once. And then, of course, we're going to see decider matches today, quarterfinals tomorrow, semifinals, and finals on Sunday, as per usual. So the structure stays the same. It's just the format's a little bit different. What are your first impressions on Trio after actually getting to cast it today?
So having a look through the buckets, what we saw is the APAC people brought 0 paladins. It's Demon Hunter, Paladin, and Warrior as... Did I continue? Oh my goodness, I like this bit. But yeah, we're seeing that the people who brought Paladin, who are the ones who managed to get Demon Hunter as well, because that's how it works, have been doing incredibly badly. Haven't actually got the breakdown, but that bucket only got 1 person through to the next day. On yesterday, like the group winners, only 1 person managed to get through with a Paladin in their lineup. And that's going to be relevant today, because we are going to see a lot of Paladins, because they're all in this 1-on-1 Friday Hearthstone slot.
Yeah, and we're guaranteed to get a couple more through, because there's a couple matches later that I believe there's Paladins on both sides, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, prize pool, you saw it, $500 a win and 1 point per win as well. Slightly higher base in the dollar amount. You start with a $650, but then you earn $500 per win. So good chunk of money. But the big thing here is the points, because as we talked about, there's only 3 weeks in the regular season. And it's only the top 8 that move on to those playoffs, that shot at the World Championship. And then it's only the top 4 that actually get to come back for the Grandmasters last call, which is the top 4 players from each of the 3 Grandmasters regions, plus the top 4 performers at the first 3 Masters tours of the year. So pretty important. It's doubly important to make sure you're in that top cut. And we are in this little bit here where we've only got 1 week, so the points are pretty evenly spread. Frozen won week 1. However, he 0-2'd this week, so he's stuck at 5 points for the week. And then every player except for Killing All Day. Killing All Day is a big fat 0 going into week 3 twice. CaelesLuna, Asqua, and Pun are all still in. So CaelesLuna and Pun will be seeing compete today, actually against each other. And then Pasqua 2-0'd his group. So they're going to be earning points. So everybody's going to have points except for Killing All Day.
Yeah, and we've got a live list here of the points sort of as it stands, which we don't show because it just gets confusing, because some people have already won 2 games and some people have won 1 and lost 1, and they could get to 2, and explaining all that would be a mess. But I can tell you, it is just jammed. Whoever comes out of this week as winner is going to be so far clear of the group, unless it happens to be maybe CaelesLuna, that it's going to be ridiculous. Dmitry Kazov, another good result. Picked up 2 points last week, 2 points again this week. Looking really good on it. Getting out of a really tough group. Shame we didn't get to see Leander Alil, because there were Nazoths and Cthuns, all sorts of things in there. But he went down 3-2 against Luna in that elimination match. Otherwise, we would have got a look at those amazing looking decks.
Yeah, pretty bizarre stuff. But it's hard to compete against some of these players that actually made cohesive lineups with the buckets they were given for Trio. So, yeah, 0-2. But we'll be seeing DreadEye versus Luna as the first match of the day. And that one should be pretty good. Both players had success in week 1. Obviously, it wasn't that big win that I'm sure they were looking for. However, you know, if they can add on to that point total, they're going to be a good spot going into week 3. And then moving on to Group B, now get on.
This guy.
Oh, what? Flood's playing on a Friday.
I know, right? Fled on a Friday. Never happened before. It might never happen again.
That's crazy.
I think it happened in the playoffs.
All of last season.
Yeah.
Except for playoffs. The whole entire regular season of the second season in 2021, only playing on Saturday. Whether that meant he 0-2'd or 2-0'd, it was all or nothing for Fled. And now we find him maybe a little bit outside of his comfort zone. I don't know what Friday Fled even looks like, but we'll get to see today. He'll be playing against lnguagehackr. See who's going to make it out of that group. Now Gidon had a little bit of a rough week last week, right? Was he a 1-pointer?
I think he was a 1-point gamer last week. Yes, he was a 1-point gamer last week.
Okay, so important for him to do well this week if he wants to find himself in the top. And then, as we've come to expect, Monsanto chugging along, winning Group C. And then practice partners CaelesLuna and Pun, who have mirrored lineups or very close to it. I do think they differ in like one card. The archetypes are the same. I remember looking at it and being like, oh, look, the archetypes are the same, and then saying, wait, there's this card. And then I never double-checked, and now we're there. So that'll be the third match of the day, and I'll have a definitive answer for you by then, I promise, on if their deck lists differ at all. But they're very similar. And Pun going to make the Grandmasters debut since he did 0-2. And I guess CaelesLuna technically got relegated, but then promoted back in. So this is CaelesLuna's Grandmasters debut as well
for this season,
but not really.
It's like a pretend debut. It's like have a debut, didn't like it, although CaelesLuna did fine, and then just come back and like I want another debut. Didn't like the first one. I just want more debuts. Just gonna be greedy and take them all. Pasqua getting through Group D, 0 points last week, but is a very hard-working, very strong gamer. We talked about him quite a lot. We'll do that again tomorrow. Just somebody who could have been Grandmaster for 4 or 5 seasons, honestly, but the way things worked out, somebody always overtook him on the last Masters Tour each time when he thought he might get promoted. So finally getting a chance to show us what he could do and dodging it by just winning his group so we don't get to see him on a Friday.
That's right. Yeah, we will get to see Pasqua tomorrow, which I'm looking forward to. Like you said, definitely been a long time coming for him to actually participate in Grandmasters. This graphic looks so weird with only 3 classes. This is the first time I've ever seen it. Oh, geez. Yeah, so no bans, so don't have to worry about that, which is good for Neil and I, because we always forget, or we talk about the banned deck so much and then realize it's banned later on. Now we can talk about whatever deck we want with freedom, because I've never seen this graphic with only 3 classes. I'm a little taken aback here, but there it is.
Small. It's just tiny.
Yeah. Can we enlarge it or something?
Yeah, the matches are taking longer, not shorter, even with less decks. It's weird.
Yeah, weird. So weird. Here's DreadEye. Got to see a lot of DreadEye last week. Had some exceptional play, and he's. Frozen said in his winner's interview, DreadEye, he's cracked on all of the decks that he brings. And that's kind of always been DreadEye. He always kind of goes against the grain with his lineup. And it may not be the best lineup for the field, but every deck that he brings, he knows inside and out. He's a master of the deck. So even if he goes up against, on paper, what could appear to be a tough matchup, he's just so good at these decks that he's bringing that we have to give him percentage points for it. And he chose, I want to say, what I think on paper is the strongest bucket when you put them together, right? Which is the Druid Hunter Warrior. I think that's what's been having success in some of the other regions as well. And it's going to be playing the Quest Hunter, Quest Warrior, and Kazakhstan Druid, though it's the Kazakhstan Druid that has a couple minions and Cenarian Ward. This is the one that I'm seeing more on ladder recently, at least high legend type of deal, high MMR, as opposed to the Capture Cold Tooth Mine, only Kazakhstan version of the deck.
Yep, Luna wins everything, plays everything, does win everything, but only has 3 decks, which also looks weird at the bottom of the screen.
Yep.
No big Warlock this week to make us laugh.
Nope, no big Warlock. But did take the Paladin Demon Hunter bucket, which players have been having like middling success. It's like every player that brought Paladin went 1-1 and then lost. That's honestly what it feels like, which is so bizarre. It's such a weird thing. It's like the Libram Paladin is doing okay, but struggling just a tiny bit when it needs to have success. And there's Luna's Libram Paladin. It has become pretty standard, right? Mutinous was once upon a time like a tech card they threw in, but I feel like nowadays it's a necessity. And then a Libram of Justice, which is a little bit, thinking outside the box. We haven't seen as much Libram of Justice lately, but with how much big stuff seems to be being created with all of the decks, it feels like a necessity as well.
Yep, I think that's a good call. Mutinous last week, obviously the absolute crux of Frozen's win. So there were already quite a few Mutinuses about, but now it's just they're Mutini everywhere, even on the bounty. They're just all over the place.
And here we go. All right. The Kazakhstan Druid versus the Libram Paladin. And, one of the weaknesses of Kazakhstan Druid is that it can just fall behind, right? If you don't hit some good early ramp and are able to hit your big stuff quickly, board-based aggressive decks like Libram Paladin, or that are board-based and can have aggressive starts, let me rephrase that, it can be susceptible if it falls too far behind. But that's where the armor gain comes in, that's where the ramp comes in, that's where the Scale of Onyxia comes in, and that, I think, is a pretty good hand for DreadEye.
Yes, it is. And going back to what you were saying about that's where all the Onyxias and stuff come in, Raven made the point, and Luna does have it in her deck, that's where Mr. Smite comes in on the Paladin side. Because Druid, when it stabilizes, it just stabilizes so well, so quickly. You often just need that one final hit, and Mr. Smite can provide that threat just to keep the Druid a little bit in check. But that's down the line. First of all, Luna's got to get as much damage out of her opener as she can, and as you have said, DreadEye has one amazing starting hand going on here.
Yeah, and opts to coin out the Wild Growth first, because this allows for a Bloom Guff hero power. Actually, looks like he's thinking about Lunar Eclipsing, but I think he's just mousing up his cards while he waits for the Guff animation. Yeah, it's just going to hero power. Yeah, that makes sense. Just to ramp up even further.
Luna needs a decent draw here because she has nothing to do. That's not a good turn.
That's okay. It's just now 3 7s in hand and 1 5 to kind of bide some time. But now DreadEye is really getting going with the mana. Already at 8 after the hero power has been hit this turn. And has some ways to draw, has some ways to stabilize. And is going to think.
Yeah, he's going to have so much mana, and the card draw is going to be slow relative to the mana amount. He just wanted a moment to work out, okay, I could take this. This is, what, a tickle for 6 or 7? 7. Who cares? I'll be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's starting to get so up there in mana. He has the ability to, like, draw with, like, Moonlit Guidance, and then, start picking, like, Cenarian Wards, get those big stabilization tools going. Has the Scale of Onyxia to kind of buy back time on board. It won't be a full clear, but it'll be enough to buy him some much needed time in order to, get to those big turns. So.
Yeah, now that Lunar Eclipse is really useful that he held back as well, because the 4-5, the numbers will add up nicely rather than not nicely. That decision last turn coming into play here. This card seems unfair.
Oh, picked less on a 3 and got it.
Okay.
Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 that cost less, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that cost more. So it's actually just mathematically correct to pick less in that situation.
Right.
DreadEye just recognizing that incredibly quickly. So,
like you said, he just knows the decks he plays inside out, and he's now got Solar Cenarion in hand. And Luna is going to have to hero power for the second time in the game, which you often don't have to do that at all with Paladin for the entire game. And here she is having to do it twice in 6 turns. Yeah. All right, look at this for a turn. This is going to be a turn. Turn.
I wonder if you just... Okay, he's going to start with Moonlit Guidance. If this does hit Cenarion Ward, can go Moonlit Guidance, Solar Eclipse, Cenarion Ward, and then get another Cenarion Ward. Resizing Pouch to get a 10. Oh, okay. Going to get double Raid Boss Onyxia. I mean, that's one of the best hits from Resizing Pouch. That just saves you from having to go for the pouch, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, no messing about on 16, just in case something horrible happens with Mr. Smite and a million buffs. So, yeah. It's going to be one big Mutinous, though.
Yeah. Yep. And Luna knows that that's in the hand, so she knows that there's at least one minion there. It does die on board, and not in the best way either, because it would be a 12-12, and there's actually just 12 stats on board. The Onyxia would be immune, so not really an option, to be quite honest, even though it's
sure
juicy knowing that that was there. And we've now reached 15 mana.
Because why not?
Yep.
Moon Touch just for a safety net in case something happens.
Yeah.
I mean, what's going to happen? I know, chat. But, you know, sometimes things happen. Spoilers, nothing's going to happen.
Ooh! Can they do a Viper check real quick? Viper check.
Viper check!
Viper. No Viper for either player. Ugh. Bah.
You okay? What are you supposed to do here as Luna?
Expensive.
The answer is
Yeah, she just drew all this expensive stuff. It's really slowed her development down all game. And the end comes so quickly when it comes against Druid as well, doesn't it? It's stabilised there, it just goes bam, bam, and that's it. I mean...
This removes the Supreme Abyssal, kind of.
Kills the 0/0, yeah.
Yeah.
17 mana.
To be honest, because if Luna decided to go for Varian, she hits and then trades over the Tyrion, but then knows that Onyxia would just come down and trade right back over the Varian, which is awkward. Okay.
I'm just giggling at the fact that DreadEye plays 7 mana of cards, then plays a Malygos, still has 3 mana left. Draws alone more mana.
He's got
2 cards left in his deck. It's turn 8.
Yeah, and the 2 cards are Scale of Onyxia. Oh, no, not Scale of Onyxia.
Kazakusan?
Yeah, Kazakhstan and Bogbeam. There you go. Nailed it.
I just get the impression at this point DreadEye is just hovering over things, waiting for Luna to concede. Like, I don't want to play my cards. I want you to give up. I'm trying desperately to work out how Luna can get back into this. I just can't think of a single way. And I'm usually such an optimist, TJ. I just... This situation has beaten me. They call me Neil Optimist Bond.
Light
I hope.
guide my patience.
They've been calling you that for years.
Yeah, call me that all the time. So I think Luna's choice here, she would like to get as many hero powers as possible in, because that's the world where sometimes she has a way back in, but unfortunately she wants to play Varian, which means she can't get a hero power in. It's just a really awkward turn. Cool.
Well, although True
give your
Seeker-
opponent a 5/5.
Running out of time.
Yeah. I think you have to kill the Abyssal, as rough as that sounds.
Yeah.
That's tough. True Seeker is a pretty good draw, because that's going to at least, well, I mean, it's guaranteed, right, because of the effect, but nonetheless, it's a good thing that she picks it up. Ooh. Yeah.
Pick one, take it.
Yeah, Rabbit just looks so sad next to Rain Boss Onyxia.
I don't think he's going to, but DreadEye, just to point out, because I'm finding this game quite amusing, DreadEye could play Raid Boss Onyxia and trade in the Whelps, and then play Kazakhstan.
And then play Kazakhstan.
Because why wouldn't you want to do this?
Yeah. So the last card is Bog Beam, I believe. So, ooh.
These are just good cards. There was a Krusty in there, which is handy right now.
Yeah, they all did the same thing. They all said destroy a minion. One gains you life, one just destroys it, and then one puts a big body on board, which seems the better out of those three options.
I think that DreadEye could have had Luna pick all of those cards and still be in a really good position, because they were such good offerings. Like, the worst card in each set of three was still really good.
Yeah. I think DreadEye missed the attack with the weapon there.
Yeah, also ran out of time for, like, Lightning Bloom into Horn or whatever he wanted to do. I think he wanted to play some more cards.
Yeah,
There's a Moonlit that didn't get played. There's stuff happened there.
Yeah, miss an attack into something. Still, like, this immovable object is putting in some work. Allows Luna to be pretty safe regardless, and this is going to be a grind still from here. Oh, there's Embers, and that's lethal. Wait, no. Wait, hold on. Time out. It's not lethal. Each of those deals 4. So you can trade over, and one of these is bound to hit, so it's better to keep these minions alive. So it's 12, 16 plus 3, 19 plus 5, 24. Was she at 24? Plus another 3 from the weapon. Yeah, that's lethal.
But the good news for Luna here is that DreadEye wasn't going to gain mana next turn, because it is capped at 20, unbelievably.
Yeah, unbelievably. That's insane. All right, well, I said this was going to be a grind, but absolutely not, because if you can Solar Embers, you're going to kill pretty much anything unless there's a lot of stuff in the way. There was like a small chance at some point in that game, if Luna was able to hit the Cariel hero power on Samuro and then get it buffed up somehow to be able to like sweep the board, that she could have just kept putting stuff in the way and, you know, maybe grinded DreadEye out of treasures. But like, how do you deal with the Anoia Horn? Okay, Lord Barov, I don't know. It's just really tough from that situation. DreadEye was able to have access to his entire deck and then Kazakhstan treasures. Just too much going on.
I haven't stopped laughing for about 2 minutes straight. I'm sorry, I'm just letting TJ solo at this point, because we all know how good this deck is, but that just did all of it. It drew the whole deck in 9 turns, had 20 mana, and then got through a Cariel with Luna on nearly full health in 1 turn. It was just completely absurd. And now we're going to get Quest Warrior, so that's going to be a change of pace. From absurd to just make a pirate. And there's a Robes of Protection lurking in here.
2 of them, actually. The double Robes of Protection, and Did have to make some cuts. Well, not really, I suppose. What's cut from the normal list, I guess you could call it, would be the Mutinous, is what we've seen be like somewhat standard over the past couple weeks for the players that did bring this list. And then everything else, it's just Quest Warrior. We've seen this deck have some pretty immense struggles, but we've also seen those games where you look at it and you say to yourself, how would I ever beat this? And there's rarely an in-between.
I actually really think that this Robes of Protection might be very, very good. I was talking to Raven earlier about the Mutinous epidemic, and I did sort of mention that I feel that maybe at some point the deck's going to go too far into having tech and getting bigger, and it's a good deck, so let's add a card until the deck breaks. And I think we might be approaching that point. So I like the step back and just go, okay, what does my deck actually do? What it does is it hits you really fast, really hard, and yeah, it's got a Rakara if needed, because I like to have Juggernauts because they're great. But what this deck really does is just hits you hard. So Robes of Protection instead of Mutinous just adds to that for me. I think it's just a really nice choice. We'll get to see how it actually works out in practice, but I like it. Makes sense.
It doesn't protect your minions from Immolation Aura. And there aren't like that many decks in the metagame that want like these, that have like these targeted spells. It's Demon Hunter and not all of their spells, just the Fellscream Blast. Mizaki Mage, right? What else? Like,
well, you say just the Fellscream Blast, but that, like the Immolation Aura, sure, it kills your pirates, but you put more pirates down and finish the job. But the Fellscream Blast actually gains you the health back and starts the game again, as well as clearing the board. So if you're just limiting your opponent to Immolation Aura, at least in that world, they're not gaining the health. So when you play your next pirate, you haven't got to do another 9 damage from where you start. So I quite like it. Again, it might turn out to be rubbish, but I think it's good.
yeah.
But you're right, it doesn't affect many things. I just think it affects some key things. Lunar Eclipse.
Sure. Yep. But Lunar Eclipse is usually used before. Like, would you opt to play like Robes of Protection on 3 and then Pirates to back it up?
Yeah, it just jams the pirates. You might not, but yeah.
But which pirate?
I don't know. All of them. Look at all these pirates.
Yeah, usually Cargo Guard is first because less likely for your opponent to have a card to deal with it, so you can get that armor. It's the only pirate that has sort of this ongoing effect onto the board. However, it's going to die right now. Luna prioritizing that over the freebooter. And now DreadEye is going to be able to get this, play the weapon, Ratchet Privateer, get that weapon beefed, and we're rolling.
Luna is also rolling, though. She's got kind of everything you want to stay alive for the next 3 or 4 turns.
Hello?
Hello?
You gotta play the Ratchet Privateer first? Hello?
What was that?
Hello, is this thing on?
Hello? I'm confused.
Worried about Viper, perhaps?
Yeah.
DreadEye giggling to himself.
Suddenly changed his mind there, sort of mid-turn somehow.
Well, I think he was thinking of which 3 drop to play, whether it's the South Sea Captain or the Privateer, and then that was what he was debating on in his mind. But then realized that he had forgot to play the weapon first, so he made sure he got the weapon out of the way, and then continued his thought process. Because either way the weapon happened, it was just whether or not the captain came down first.
Yeah, that makes sense. And went with, well, captain wins me the game next turn if my things live, so let's go with that play.
Yeah. And Luna just saying, all right, well, I don't want to deal with those, so I'm going to kill him, and then next turn I can Kurtrus.
Yeah, and then performers if needed as well. She's good. That puts the Spectral Sight to the left after those 2 turns, which then gets her doing the thing she wants to be doing, which is drawing lots of cheap cards. Obviously, it's going to take control of the game to some degree. And then do the fell thing, just where you start just playing fells and chasers, using the normal win condition, not the expendable win condition. Because, TJ, that win condition is expendable.
So what does DreadEye expect here from Luna? Do you expect Kurtrus? If so, that could change your play, because then you wouldn't want to use like a Saucy Captain and Freebooter, which would be like your the play. He might attack and play Sword Eater. No, I'm just going to go Cargo Guard. And if he really thinks that it's a possibility, would then go hold on the Freebooter, because he wouldn't be able to play 2 Pirates next turn anyway unless hit one off the top. But it's just going to go for the on-curve play, try and get the Pirates out of the way. And if Kurtrus is there, whatever. Kurtrus is there.
Yeah, I think it's one of those situations where he expects the Kurtrus from how Luna double immolations and so on last turn. That was a weird-looking play if you're on the other side. But really, it's not a powerful enough read to play around it. And honestly, it's coming down anyway at some point. It's not a great play around. You've just got to get on with it and get your pirates pirating. There we go. Yeah, you can see he's not enjoying this turn. He knows he's getting behind now. Yeah. Not done anywhere near enough damage to be a threat off the top, so he's going to need to juggernaut his way through.
Does have a chunk of life to work with, however. It's got some time.
Key moment, if Luna wants to hold on to the expendables for a while, or whether she just wants to get them on the board, so she is going to hold on to them. This is all going to work out very nicely for her. Well, apart from the bit where her Spectral Sight gets +2 spell damage. But apart from that, I think she could do about that.
Ooh. Pretty good stuff there, though. Well, the double jump, not so much, because at this point it's likely to be glide, which... If you time the glide to Riccara, which actually that could be actually really good. Now that I think about it, because DreadEye is very likely to complete the Riccara this turn.
And doesn't pick up a cheap pipe. Well, it's cheap, but not cheap enough. So the double jump glide is on. Because the Jace isn't really very useful yet. She'd rather not glide it away, but she won't be upset to glide it away, if that makes sense. So
yeah. And I wonder if DreadEye is just going to armor up here instead of complete the Riccara. Oh, no, it was just one. Sorry.
Got a job for me?
yeah.
Double jump.
Any glides?
Oh!
Don't worry, Luna, you'll get it off the Spectral. It'll be fine.
I'll never stop searching.
See?
Oh, there you go.
Have you
bing,
played
bada
this
boom.
deck before, Luna? That's what it always does.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Ah, no faith.
Need a glide?
Believe in the Demon Hunter. Well, obviously you don't have to believe because she didn't believe and it just did it anyway.
I think DreadEye was like, yeah, whatever. If that happens, then I'll just play Pirates.
Yeah.
Like, I get 4 more Pirates. Cool.
Nice draws for Luna, though.
Oh, just got it back, I believe. The last one. Yeah. Hey, look at that. So it gets Riccara back, plus 2 Pirates. Sweet.
The BM from DreadEye.
What a cheeky lad.
He's very much amused himself with that. Yeah.
I know.
We're gonna need more gunpowder.
Like,
Himself.
well, I had it tough last game, Luna, when I only got 20 mana on turn 9, so I think I'm owed one.
Yeah.
Luna in a real spot now, though.
Okay. I-beam. Nope. Just kidding. Spectral Sight. I guess she just needs resources. McBanterFace is actually could be pretty good. However, she's in a spot where She's gonna die.
I think. Can she? She's got Fell Barrage, IB.
Oh, wait, yes, yeah. McDaradon,
Barrage will
I-Beam,
guarantee
Fell
that.
Screen Blast,
Yes.
and then Fell Barrage.
So it hits the
two
two.
lowest. Yeah, you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you do the I-Beam Blast just to guarantee that it's gonna that the Fell Barrage would hit the 2 health.
So I shouted that over you there because I thought for a second she might actually hit the 3-3 by mistake, but she got the ordering right.
Yell at me, Neil.
No, she's got a 12-12. These last 3 turns have been silly. Lose Rakara, play Rakara, get good stuff from Rakara, and now there's a 12-12 versus a 1-1 and a 0-2 weapon.
That is not good.
But the 12-12 kind of stands alone here as well.
Still a Jace for Luna, which could be quite large. There's a Fury in there as well with Aldraki Warblades in hand.
Yep, and she's done some things now so that the Jace will actually be useful.
Yep.
It's going to take her 3 hits to kill DreadEye. She can't have that race going on.
Ooh, ha. Oh, ooh.
I think we could probably cast the rest of this game without actually using words, right? Just wow, ooh.
Yeah. Whoa.
I think she's trying to work out whether to play the minion first. Well, she is, of course. Otherwise, she just plays Glide now. So it's not in her deck anymore.
What could she play with 4 mana remaining that would make a difference?
A combination of 2 things.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like there's a combination of 2 things that would cost 4 that are necessary. She's used both of the Immolation Aura, so like Talented Arcanist Immolation Aura is
right.
Good. DreadEye's got a ton of damage. Even with a heal 8 here, we're looking at 5, 6, 12, plus whatever damage from the Pirate, plus the Cannoneer, plus 4 more, potentially. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 15.
Has Luna got lethal? Let's not do this again. Has Luna got lethal on the swing back?
No. Yes.
Sure.
Yes. So one of these cannon hits will have to go face from the Defias Cannoneer. That would be exactly 20. Oh, no, that's lethal. Never mind. Oh, there's board space. So we'd have to trade in the 1. That's still lethal. So you trade in the Swashbuckler into the Magtheridon. Okay. You're left with 7 damage on board, then 8 with the weapon, then 14 with the Mr. Smite. Oh, no, never mind. I counted 18. There's got to be it somewhere. Oh yeah, freeboot or harder scamp. That was what it was. And then you trade in the Swashbuckler. So you start with the trade on the Swashbuckler. There we go.
Whew. And Luna would have had it coming back the other way if that hadn't been worked out. So,
yep,
full combo in hand. 2-0 to DreadEye, and that was a nutty game of Hearthstone. It just started off quite mundane. Pirates play pirates, get killed pirates, stuff. And then started with Luna trying to top deck a Glide. I think the next 4 turns were all completely ridiculous. It was a really good game of Hearthstone.
Yeah, very crazy. Things could have been a lot different without the Rakara being picked up. Though maybe not that much different. No, much different, because Luna would have been much higher health total because the cannon shots turn after turn. And then even though they were very small pirates and very small weapons, the incremental damage was enough. Because DreadEye only had 1 over lethal there. It was 21 damage and 20 health, and that was the max that he could do in that turn. So if she had a little bit more life to work with, could have been the difference maker for that game. But yeah, DreadEye 2-0 up. Bottom deck remaining is going to be the Quest Hunter. Different Quest Hunter than he ran last week with the Dunbaldar Bunker. Instead going with the Drekthar version. It's a no Mukla Drekthar, so couple minus a couple coolness points, but still cool because it allows you to play the Vipers for weapon-heavy decks, and then just Drekthar them out of your deck in matchups where you don't need them. Yeah, there you go.
And this match is still very much alive because this Hunter doesn't line up particularly well against what Luna is doing. It's not disastrous or anything, but I think Luna, the warrior looks really, really powerful. I imagine she'll queue that up first because it's just one of the closest things to a free win there is in Hearthstone right now. And then the Paladin should be okay. I mean, Poison Rogue exists, I guess, and that has a lot of free wins and free losses, but yeah. I think this is good for the warrior. It's really good.
Just the matchup in general.
Yeah, I think it's good for the warrior.
Okay.
I think that the damage for the Hunter is kind of capped. On top of all the other things going on, I think it's there's no threat, so the warrior can just mess around doing warrior things.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not capped, right? Well, it's capped. The cap on it is insane.
It's high, but it's slow.
And you have a lot of misses this deck in the Charge Warrior.
Yes, you do. That's fair. Okay.
Like your hand can get clogged up with a bunch of nonsense. And Luna's added in even more nonsense. Nonsense that still has a place, but for this matchup is nonsense. Like Showstopper.
Yeah, okay, you're right. I'm wrong. I'm gonna take it.
Shield slams, Showstopper, to the front, Lord Barav.
Yeah. You've changed my mind.
Brawl, Faceless, Battlemaster, Galvangar, Mr. Smite. Like, none of those things are really doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's a large amount of time you just spend just pressing your hero power with this deck. And sure, you can gain a lot of armor. You have 2 heavy plates. You have 2 frozen bucklers. You have Rakara. But if the Hunter is just able to just start chucking stuff, then you could be in for a rough time.
I'm sold, TJ. Yeah, I'm sold. I was thinking about it slightly backwards. I think my experience with it has been pretty awful. So you've talked me into changing my mind, which is very difficult because I am a stubborn old man and I never change my mind.
DreadEye's like, all right. Hit the Drekthar.
Yeah. Having a good day at the office?
Our enemies will meet their ancestors.
Oh, okay, that's very good.
And those are the only 2 minions remaining because the first Viper is in hand. Obviously, this is incredibly weak to Bladestorm, but here's the kicker. There's not a Bladestorm in this deck.
No. Well, not in the deck?
Not in the deck.
I checked some key cards. I didn't check for numbers of Bladestorms. I just kind of assumed.
No Bladestorms. Actually, a good thing in this matchup because Bladestorm is pretty useless except for dealing with exactly Tavish.
So this is the interesting part now where both decks don't have targets for most of their cards for a while.
Funnily enough, Freezing Trap could just like be so good.
How does Luna ever stick something?
She has Mr. Smite, so like you can Mr. Smite and then keep your Galvangar at the right cost.
Really awkward though and annoying.
Yeah,
kind of like me.
Kind of like all of us.
Fair point, TJ. Yeah, I was going to take the hit
down,
for the team, but
we're all a little bit awkward and annoying.
Yeah. Just actually starting to add up Luna's combo there briefly, because there's another weapon in hand where she can just keep going face with the weapon over and over. 3 parts of the combo in hand, but yeah, freezing traps a potential thing that could happen here. But it's going to happen because yeah, there it is. A very silly game of Hearthstone.
It really is.
No, no minions for you, no minions for me. I'm just going to... You know, when you first learn the game, it's like, oh, fireball. I know, I'll point that to my opponent. That's 6 damage. They only got 30. Well, you don't anymore because fireball isn't it? But when we learned Hearthstone, that's how it worked. It's just like that. It's just point everything at the face.
Yep. So the single faceless on GamerRvg, 18 damage plus a to the front, is 9 mana. So Luna actually has lethal set up next turn, unless DreadEye protects himself.
Sorry.
With a freezing trap, funnily enough.
A black arrow.
Yeah, against the no minion deck.
Or a Viper.
Why not both? Because this person.
Yeah, needs to either play freezing trap or Viper, or is dead.
Yep, he's going to play the freezing trap, mainly because there's nothing else worth playing, so it sort of fit naturally.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'd worked it out as well that he was in trouble if combo was there.
And knows this is freezing trap now because Luna or DreadEye only plays 1 natural explosive, 1 natural freezing trap. That secret came from the deck, so she checked for explosive trap, wasn't there, so now she knows that it is freezing. So she probably got a little excited because she's like, oh yeah, lethal. Oh, he.
So what she will probably do, which will end badly, is play it, get it frozen to set up for next turn, then play the bulwark so she's still alive.
And then she will die.
And then she will die because there's a Viper in the opposing hand.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but that's the play that sort of leaps out at me.
Yeah. DreadEye probably knows that this is like a near checkmate scenario. Like,
I'm just glad you talked me down at the start of the game from saying that this was a really good matchup for the Warrior.
yeah, it's even the Control Warrior I've struggled so much with against Quest Hunter because so many of your cards don't do anything. You're not getting value from Rancor. You're not drawing cards from Outrider's Axe. Your removal is useless because they're not playing minions. So you're just sitting there armoring up, and then by the time you get to your win conditions, like they've amassed a huge amount of spells, completed their quest, and then they start chucking stuff at your face. It's very difficult.
Yeah, their spells are actually doing something. Your spells are doing nothing. That makes sense when you word it like that.
Yeah.
This hasn't been my experience, but my experience is quite limited, as you may have worked out. But it's there. But
Yep.
it must just be that bad.
Yeah. DreadEye probably going to stop here, just because the rest of that armor is going away anyway. He doesn't want to quote unquote waste damage.
Mm-hmm.
So Luna is still a faceless away from lethal. Right? It costs
2, 3.
Oh no, it'd be
He needs another to the front, right?
another to the front and a faceless. I don't think you ever just play GamerRvg on attack. I don't think you ever practice freezing trap until you're going to kill. So now just needs a to the front.
Yep.
Because each of these faces will cost 3 and GamerRvg costs 4, so it would be 2 mana off. But with 2 to the fronts, that would mean 2+1+1, so it'd be enough.
Yeah, she can't even, because DreadEye obviously has a million removal spells in hand, because that's what the deck does. She can't even just throw out a faceless now to try and clear the freezing or whatever. It's just, yeah. She's well aware of the Viper, the way things have been going, I think. She's played around that nicely. But her turn appears to just be press the button right now.
You probably still play the Bulwark, force him to spend mana on the Viper. I don't know. Because you can't get this GamerRvg frozen, because then it'll cost 8, and then you just won't ever have the mana. You would need a to the front regardless, a second one regardless. So
yeah,
may as well just spend your mana doing other things.
Okay.
And now this should be lethal. Yeah. Because of the Furious Howl. Is it lethal in hand? Not quite, but the Furious Howl will be enough. Most likely. I mean, the deck is chock full of, there's overwhelms, there's trackings, there's still an arcane shot, there's a quick shot.
And the reactions from both players tell the story of this match. It was just ludicrous from DreadEye, and that's what happens when somebody who's good at decks gets a good draws, though, is they just demolish people. That Druid game in particular was just absolutely ridiculous, but this game also has looked very nicely done. And picked up everything he needed. Luna couldn't get a foot in this match at all, apart from maybe for a minute in game 2. And DreadEye's just looking like, oh, well, Hearthstone's easy, huh?
Yeah. I mean, that game was a lot closer than it may have appeared, right? It just looked like DreadEye kind of ran over it. But without that freezing trap, or like without the potential Viper in that situation, Luna was very close to just winning the game. If it wasn't exactly freezing trap there, it would have been a win for Luna. So she did about the best she could, but unfortunately not enough. A long 3-0, but a 3-0 nonetheless. And once again, we see the Demon Hunter Warrior Paladin bucket get close, but falter in the decider match. Seems like it's happened so much. All of the Paladins are just getting defeated left and right. And DreadEye, once again, another quarterfinal appearance, hoping to make it further, just like he did in week 1.
Yeah, that puts him up to at least 5 points at the end of this week now, and I think there's 6, and again, this is not official, this is not exact, this is an estimate. I think if you get to 6, you fancy your chances of being in that top 8 strongly.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. But yeah, that was, again, always like watching DreadEye play these lists, because he always has at least one deck in his lineup that not really anybody else is playing with. Obviously, this week it's a little bit harder because he couldn't craft his own lineup with his own classes. He had to pick from these buckets. And so you kind of have to make this cohesive strategy with what you're given, like something that resembles a Conquest lineup with these buckets that you're given. And I think he did. And it was some cool games to watch as well.
I mean, I'm just never going to forget that first game. Ask me next week, I'll be like, I don't know what happened in the first game DreadEye Luna last week, but for now I'm going to say I'm never going to forget that first game, ever.
Never going to forget that first game until you do. That's what it's all about. That's what we're all about here in America's Grandmasters, is living in the moment. Us Americans, me and Neil. But that's our first match in the books, and we got to go to a break before we jump into the second one. We got 3 more matches here. It's only day 1 of week 2. Not only do we have 3 more matches today, we have a whole 2 days filled with Hearthstone action to come after that. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more America's Grandmasters. everybody, welcome back to America's Grandmasters. I'm TJ, and that is Lorinda, right over there, right next to me, to the right of me, in front of me, from my perspective, but for your perspective, he's to the right of me. We're about to jump into match number 2 for our Decider Match Friday here. It's also Flamingo Friday. I don't even know if Derek wore his Flamingo shirt today.
I need to get one, don't I, really? So I can flaming some goes.
Yeah.
Who's this guy?
Oh, wow. You know what it also is? It's Fled Friday, which is the first Fled Friday we've had in quite some time. I don't know what Friday Fled looks like. His picture looks exactly the same. But as far as his play, no idea. Absolutely no idea. Unprecedented in the history of America's Grandmasters.
There's probably one person out there watching somewhere who can only watch on Fridays and doesn't know who this guy is.
Just has no idea who Fled is. Fled? Is that a new Grandmaster? Well, kind of, but no, not really.
You're missing.
Well,
in fact, this will be an emotive match, I would like to say, between Fled and lnguagehackr. Both of them not scared to hold back on camera on how they're feeling about how it's going. But lnguagehackr has had 100% win rate with Quest Warrior, and I really wanted to highlight that point.
2-game sample size. That's right. 2 games.
That's a tweet, if ever I saw one, right?
He brought it this week, played 2 matches, and in each of those matches, he won with his Quest Warrior. Incredibly impressive. We'll see if he can keep that at 100% and get the win versus Fled today. One interesting thing about, well, not lnguagehackr, but one interesting thing about this matchup is they both picked the same bucket. They approached it similarly. They both picked Paladin, Demon Hunter, Warrior, where they're both bringing Quest Warrior, Fel, Quest, Demon Hunter. The difference is in the Paladin, whereas Fled went with the, we'll call it standard Libram Paladin. lnguagehackr decided to go for buff Paladin. Sort of similar to the Libram Paladin, except without the Librams. Like everything else is the same. It's just all the cards that say Libram or discounted Libram are taken out. And a bunch of other stuff is put in, like Sunwing Squawker, Blessing of Authority, Battleground Battlemaster, Guardian Og Merchant, Cult Neophyte. So, yeah, that's it.
7-time group winner Fled. This is only his 2nd season. And something I really like about Fled, I mentioned it earlier when we talked about Super Fake, but even more with Fled. I think part of Fled adjusting to Grandmasters was learning when to go for his crazy lineups that are very often very good, and when to just sit back and say, there is no crazy lineup this week. I just got to play normal stuff. And this is a week where he's just, taken the foot off the pedal, realized there was nothing completely ridiculous out there that he could find, and just play some decks.
Wait, what? Sorry, Neil, but it said he was 14-11 in his first season of Grandmasters, and then 16-10 in his last season of Grandmasters.
Did it really say that?
It did, yeah.
That's a copy paste that's gone really well. Why did it say that? I can see it. It's there.
Those numbers don't even add up to the same amount of matches.
I don't even know. Like, normally when I see one of these and it's wrong, when I've had a weird day and things happen, I know what's happened.
And usually I know what's happened.
He went to the playoffs and he won 2 games and lost -1.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll get to the bottom of it eventually.
I mean, one day they'll just fire me and say, we don't want this nonsense anymore. It's just not worth our time. And that'll be the end. I think the 16-10 is correct.
Okay. It gives me endless entertainment. Let's just put it that way.
The 14-11 is... The only other thing I can find that's 14-11 was Bunny Hopper's record last season. Which wasn't Bunny Hopper's first season, or indeed any season. It was just different thing. I'm excited to know how that happened. Because it'll be on me. Like, I'm not like passing any blame here. This will be on me. But I don't even know how it happened. It's good it's Friday. TJ, it's a Friday. We've never had Fled on a Friday before. And already it's going wrong for us.
It's breaking already. Yep.
And I think that's the problem. I think it's Fled's fault. He should have got to Saturday or not. Just made that choice. This middle ground Friday, not up for it. He's broken it.
Yeah.
Definitely nothing to do with me.
Yep. All right. Well, we got ourselves a Paladin mirror. It's a class mirror, not a deck mirror. Even though they do share some similar cards, lnguagehackr is playing that buff Paladin. Starts with the turn 1 Trog on the play, pretty good, but now has a decision to make. Noble Mount seems decent, right? Could protect this thing on board. Cold Neophyte, also decent, because all of the things that Fled would want to play on turn 2 in order to challenge this will cost 1 more. The only problem is if you play Cold Neophyte and you get Lemur of Wisdom, it's value trades. So by process of elimination, I've eliminated the Cold Neophyte as a play. I've isolated the Noble Mount as a play. lnguagehackr has executed that play. Well done, lnguagehackr.
So what's his next play? What's Fled's play here? Seems to be pass. Bump off the shield, pass, and then next play, lnguagehackr gets really easy.
You still go Hand of a Doll here, I think. Long gone are the days where more than one Trog is a menace. It's just another Trog. That's it. It's just another 1/2. And so he can just clear it off. You're still giving your Aldor Trueseeker stacks. Not stacks. Stacks. Stats. There we go.
That's 2 of us that can't do stats today. That's good.
Yeah. All right, Viper it is. Put in some stacks on the board. Stacks of stats.
Aha, you saved it.
Oh.
I failed to do that.
Banana Man. Oh.
I did it.
This is just the juice right here.
Yeah, and
Hacker is firing the juice.
plenty of buffs to come at some point in this buff Paladin as well.
He's already played 1.
What's the clear that he's clearly considering playing around here? Because there's no other reason not to just smash in the face. Sunwing Squawker. Are any of them actually called Parrot? We've got all these parrots that we call parrots, and none of them are actually a parrot. Blessing of authority. Got to respect it. There you go.
That one's called a parrot.
Apparently so.
I don't know why that one came from Fled. The other ones came from lnguagehackr. That's weird.
Yeah.
Is it random?
I think he just got fled up.
This card is also a parrot.
Is that even a card anymore? I mean, it's there, so it obviously is or was, but is it even... Didn't it, like, not be a card?
And that one's a parrot.
It's monstrous!
There's actually 3 parrots, Neil, so you're wrong. All right, meanwhile, Fled playing the Lord Barov, doesn't want to deal with this board. He also filled up... Whoa, that's the... Whoa, dude.
Wow, you put it on the screen and then lnguagehackr gets it in his hand. You reckon to that? What a coincidence.
Weird. Not much of a choice here from lnguagehackr. Just push everything to face and then attack the Lord Brav with the 2/1. And then play a Squawker and play a Trog, I suppose.
Yep.
Squawker will be a Noble Mount. Yep. And the Trog is buffed by the Banana Man. So 7 attack on board.
Fled just starts to turn the corner here. Still a little way to go to get all the way around the corner. The ones we can see round. But just get in there.
does he want to Samuro into this? Because it's pretty clean, right? With the Hand of Adal. He's probably trying to think what he can draw with the Hand of Adal that would be better than getting the Blade Master Samuro on the board. Look at the deck, I can think of like Carol Rome maybe for 4 mana, but there'd be nothing to buff in the hand. Maybe like another Bannerman could be played, but it's not as much power on the board. And this just seems pretty clean. Stoneheart Vindicator, actually a pretty good draw to be able to finish the game next turn. Potentially.
Yeah, and this damage has a lot of value, even though we can see that there's Librams and stuff for Fled to heal with. The damage is so valuable right now for lnguagehackr because it's clear that he's running on fumes. He's gonna have to sort of just fall over the finishing line if he gets this done, because Fled's right on the edge of stabilizing. So every point is really important.
Yeah. What's the pickup?
Oh!
Battle Master.
Fled can get... Can he? No, he can't get through. With the Divine Shield, actually, maybe he can.
Can't get through for lethal. But can get through in other ways. But I think you just go for the Stoneheart Vindicator and look for... I guess it'd be... Yeah, Noble Mount's the only one. Oh, there's another Hand of Adal. The first Hand of Adal was played by Fled. But that's clean.
And threatening.
Yeah. I don't even think you hero power here because you're going to get a Trog, which is better than a hero power.
Sure. Because you have to get a Trog, basically. No, you don't always get a Trog.
Actually, yeah, Cariel. If Cariel's in there, you don't get a Trog. But Cariel's the only one I can think of. And the hero power would die anyway. Right?
Yep.
Then you don't hero power.
Unless you want to trade one of the Trogs.
Ah, yes. Then you hero power. Well done. Well deduced, Neil.
Got there. Because I realised that lnguagehackr is not thinking about something as trivial as what we were talking about, so I've got to go get down the levels, as they call it in the trade. I'm not sure which trade, but a trade somewhere we'll talk about down the levels.
A coal miner.
Goes down the levels, gets his coal. That makes sense.
Comes back up.
Brings his coal up and goes back down the levels. Bam, bam. Wait.
Strike, then strike harder.
Okay, yeah, the one there works out.
Yep.
I couldn't find the one. The lnguagehackr.
I did, yeah. lnguagehackr spotted that one pretty quickly. I was like counting one off because I was like, he has to trade the 1/1 in and then move it over, and then this has to move over, and then that's got to move over. But it's like, no, you just attack and then Ogburch and then kill. So nicely done by lnguagehackr. Flood was very close. Flood was very close. If that last Night of Anointment had actually hit a what's the word I'm looking for? Labor of Hope, it would have been a lot closer. Because Aldor Trueseeker had been played. It's 7 mana. Night of Anointment, boom. Labor of Hope would have cost 6, so would have had exactly enough mana to play with the 3 Labor discounts. So that could have been a game changer. And because lnguagehackr was completely out of resources, nearly out of resources. So a little bit unfortunate, but that Buff Paladin puts on a ton of pressure, assuming you get that early stuff. So lnguagehackr 1 game up in this series.
Yep, and he does have a lot more Friday experience than Fled, so no surprise there.
I mean,
that's how
lnguagehackr works. lnguagehackr's like the king of Friday. lnguagehackr's like the Friday gatekeeper.
It's like, you want to play on a Friday? You gotta go through Hacker.
You gotta go through Hacker. Yeah.
Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't, but he's going to be there.
He's going to be there. He's going to be playing well, and he's going to have good decks, right? Like that's why he like if he's the test for Friday.
He dropped Fled in at the deep end, his first ever Friday. It's like, right.
Yeah, I know. Well, lnguagehackr sitting across from him. Welcome to Friday, punk.
First time. Right. Quest Warrior versus Quest Warrior, I believe. Now we've got the actual non-mirror out of the way. All the rest are going to be mirrors when they come up against each other.
Yeah, I believe these are card for card the same. I'm going to look over. Yep, double Viper for both players. Everything else is the same. Yep. Except for their choice of hero portrait.
Oh, they chose different ones?
They have different hero portraits. That's correct. lnguagehackr has the traditional warrior hero portrait, I believe. And Fled has the... I don't know the names of them. Garrosh.
I struggle with, like, if it's red, it's a warrior usually. There's some great portraits, but I struggle to process which one to go with which.
Oh no, I was wrong. lnguagehackr not going with traditional. Which one is this?
Which Fleds?
Yeah.
Don't know. I am embarrassingly bad at portraits. They never look like the person I'm trying to draw.
Let me look.
And also, you started this line of conversation on the portraits, so you can finish it. I'm going to sit here watching this is Gamp's facing off.
This is Garrosh of Might.
Mm-hmm.
It's the hero portrait from the reward check for lnguagehackr.
Does that make Fled's the Garrosh of Might not?
And then Forge Rod Garrosh is Fled's.
I don't know if I've seen this one. I must have is the answer.
Which was part of the Rusted Raiders bundle. Standalone or the Rusted Raiders bundle, which it's not currently available. It was available end of November, beginning of December.
Thank you for that.
Boom, solved it.
Your memory is amazing when it kicks in, TJ. It's like you don't know anything, and then you just sit there and you stare at the wall, and your superpower is suddenly knowing everything.
Yeah.
Well done. I'm impressed.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So this matchup can get weird. Ooh, real quick. Obviously, there's just games where one player has a pirate curve, one player doesn't have a good pirate curve, and then the player with the good pirate curve just wins. But when both players have good pirate curves, there's a lot that goes into it, right? It's not even the quality of your pirates. It's how your pirates match up against your opponent's pirates, because there are some pirates that are very good in some situations, but poor in others. Defire's Cannoneer is a good one, right? Because if you don't have availability for a weapon or for a freebooter, it's not good. But lnguagehackr is completing the quest with it. Attacks into the 2/2s, looking for war! It went both face, huh? Yep, dude certainly did.
That was the next level of what I was going to say. Hey, he's off. Last week he was shackled. Remember, he couldn't get his hands like together because they were like mystically repelled. But it's the other layer in this matchup is who's got the best cannoneers. That was something I was going to add on before that even happened.
Yeah, it happened in Europe too, where Casey just couldn't hit his cannoneers. Yeah, his not even the cannoneers. Even once he had like Ricari, he couldn't hit the cannon shots. I feel bad for lnguagehackr because we've memed on him so much at this point on both sides, right?
Yeah.
So at the beginning of last season, he was getting kind of unlucky, but not like that unlucky. But he made it seem he was getting really unlucky. Kind of like the boy who cried wolf in a sense.
Uh-huh.
But then as time went on, he actually did start to get just really unlucky.
Yeah.
Like the wolf did get him.
And we just like, yeah. It's just like, well, you know, he always says he's unlucky, so how do we know? But we know because he did get unlucky.
Yeah, and then there was this like weird situation where, like, it was the Boy Who Cried Wolf, where there was a wolf, and lnguagehackr was still saying, no, for real, there's a wolf, and we were all watching him and the wolf. But then still to ourselves, we're like, but is that really a wolf?
There's no.
And then lnguagehackr for months was just like, yes, it's a wolf, just running around in circles trying to run away from the wolf. And this is me finally acknowledging, all right, fine, that's a wolf.
That's a wolf.
But it doesn't matter to lnguagehackr because regardless of if we think there's a wolf or not, there was one. And so he's been eaten.
But some of them were in sheep's clothing.
So yeah, us acknowledging it doesn't matter to him.
Because he knows there was a wolf all along.
Yeah.
Even when there wasn't one. But
or maybe there was one always. We just couldn't see it yet.
Yeah, maybe we had to evolve our wolf sight, our wolf vision.
Yeah. Yeah.
Into a situation where we could actually understand the wolf.
Double face, perhaps?
Oh, don't.
And then this happens, and we're like, yeah, there was never a wolf.
Yeah, what wolf?
That was a middling outcome, actually. The best outcome would have been to hit the 3-2 and the 2-2, but, you know.
So, wolves aside... Do you want to play the Mutinous and see if there's any more wolves, or do you want to just play the safe play? Do you think you're in front? Do you think you're behind? You think you're in front?
Oh, I don't think you
might not go for the Mutinous. You just play the other stuff and get rid of the board and just play sensibly.
I don't think you ever Mutinous here. He's got quest completion. Yes, he's going to leave a card in his hand. He's vulnerable for Mutinous from lnguagehackr, but lnguagehackr dies.
It's that same situation. It's been coming up all day long. If you want your opponent not to play Mutinous, threaten to beat them. And lnguagehackr goes back to 1 game apiece. Fled getting his first ever game win in the regular season on a Friday.
All right. So he's got a taste of what it feels like to win on a Friday. So now this is like, should be easy pickings for him. Because he does have some good matchups against the Quest Warrior left, theoretically, with both the Demon Hunter and a Libram Paladin. So we shall see if that's going to mean lnguagehackr struggles because he didn't find the win in the mirror for himself, and that Fled did get his Power Warrior through in the mirror. There was actually a lot riding on that specific game, now that I think about it. Spent so much time talking about wolves, forgot to actually break down what that means for the series. This is obviously the weak link in both players' lineups if you look at the matchups across the board. And so getting in a mirror matchup, all of a sudden it amplifies the importance of that individual game. And probably also why lnguagehackr seemed even more upset.
Except,
that he had some poor outcomes in that early mid game because he understood what that meant for his lineup as a whole.
Yeah, with these buckets being effectively mirrored, the one that is the weaker of the links, in kind of a bit of a triangle, but with the Paladin going through, that triangle was broken. That did leave the Warrior versus Warrior match as pretty important, you're right. And now we're going to get the Paladin versus the Demon Hunter, which, you know, Demon Hunter is not good at removing multiple boards of big things. Fled's got to keep the lights down today, otherwise he'll wake up GamerRvg, who's playing later.
Yeah, he's napping, waiting for his... I thought the exact same thing earlier, and I didn't say it.
So you should have said it was funny.
I was about to say GamerRvg's napping on the top bunk, so Fled's got to keep the lights off. I thought it like 20 minutes ago, as soon as he came on camera, and I didn't say it.
You hung around me way too long, all the other way around, actually.
Yeah. Those of you who don't know what we're talking about, just wait until GamerRvg plays, and you'll know.
Yep, straight away. Just you'll see. I said that to Gia once. I'm like, I've got TJ trained, to understand my sort of thinking now. And Gia's instant response was, "No, he's trained you." It's like, oh, yeah, you're right, Gia. All this time, hadn't realised what was going on.
Yeah. It's like slowly over time, I've just been training all of the casters to be able to just deal with me.
Yeah.
True strength comes from within.
Okay. Fled actually going for the higher power play here on board with the Stonehearth Vindicator over the Alliance Bannerman. I like that. Not the greatest. Oh, piece of candy.
There's some stuff.
This is a hand right here.
I just sort of stepped back and looked at this stuff that he's got going on.
Yeah.
Because he just...
Or Noble Mount. Yep.
So much fell into Jace is already an option for him.
Yeah. That was actually guaranteed to be Noble Mount. Double Wisdom in hand. Already played the first hand of it all. Second hand of it all. Yep. Well, I'll tell you one thing.
Go on then.
I don't want to just glide.
Oh, that'll help my MMR so much. Thank you, TJ. I think he wants to use a lot of fell stuff if possible. It might seem obvious, but that's not always how the deck functions. But just get it all played and then Jace it and do it all again really quickly here.
Yeah, I was thinking I actually want to dump it all in order to glide. Depending on what Fled does, actually.
Okay.
Fled's actually going to dump his hand, so maybe glide loses its value. Like next turn, going to play Trueseeker, Libram. Is it Libram or Libram? Or both pronunciations?
I use both.
Let me do that thing where I think about it for a couple minutes and then I know it.
I say Libram, but I think Libram is also probably correct. Like liberty is liberty. Liberty sounds like something Sottle drinks in the afternoon. You got there yet? Do you know?
No, I don't know yet.
Okay. I'll ask you in a few more minutes. Is 6/8 irritating if you're a language hacker? Okay, it's not that irritating anymore. Thanks. Derek's trying to help.
Pronounced like LeBron. LeBron James. LeBron.
Libram James.
LeBron. That can't be right. It is Libram. Actually.
Not Libram. Which is weird, right? Because it comes from a library.
I actually think they're all correct.
I do too. Just like shaman, shaman, and shaman.
It's not even a word in the English language.
Is it not?
It's Latin. Whatever. I'm over it. It's gonna eat.
My turn.
Derek, do some research, please, and get back to us. Thank you very much, sir. All right, Fled's gonna go big here on the board. Can get this devout pupil down as well. couple of LeBroms.
Yeah, and the stuff just keeps on coming. This is what we talked about right at the start of this matchup. It's you can clear a board, you can clear another board, but eventually it just gets overwhelming unless you're lucky. And yeah, lnguagehackr really wants to keep the Jace, but also really needed not to have that hand anymore, so had to get rid of it.
And if he doesn't heal here or remove something from the board, he is dead. There's 14 damage on board. Lightforge Carol represents an additional 4. It's exactly 18.
I recommend then he Illidari studies and finds some way to get some health.
Well, sure, you recommend it, but...
He can still do it.
Yep.
He's just dead to Carriel, isn't he, anyway, now? Like, if...
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, I see. You said that, but I thought you meant if a minion was removed. He's actually... Yeah, so he can get I-Beam. But he doesn't know, so this all makes sense too.
Dead.
Our hardships only strengthen.
Later the Adrin was also dead. Because it bring back 4 Librams. Libroms. So 2 ways of lethal. Blood not going to show off the top deck though. Just going to throw the Caro out there. And now 2-1 lead for Fled. And only the Demon Hunter left remaining. So at the very worst for Fled, he's going to have a mirror against lnguagehackr Fell Demon Hunter, which is a... I thought with Trio, with the buckets, right, that we wouldn't have this matchup that much. I thought.
And we haven't.
I was wrong.
In the other two regions, it's not happened. Like, in APAC, just going to check this, but I think there was 0. Yeah. 0 Paladins, 0 Demon Hunters, 0 Warlocks. And then Lorinda and TJ, who have already cast the most ridiculous Demon Hunter matches of all time, can't be beaten, most of them. We just get it again.
Get it again. And, well, we don't know if it's going to be that. Yeah, it probably is going to be that.
Well, but now, the good thing is, I've played this matchup a lot now. So I understand every nuance, every nook, cranny, and librum there is to go.
It's Libram.
You've come up with conclusive proof in your mind?
Yes, it's Libram.
Okay.
Comes from the Latin word Libra.
Oh, meaning justice? Or scales?
I don't know what it means.
Balance or something? I mean, everything means justice in Paladin, so it's just justice.
Because I looked at this site, it's basically like crowdsourced pronunciations, where you record a pronunciation of it, and then people like upvote it or downvote it. And Libram has a -3 rating.
Oh.
Libram has a -5 rating. Libram has a 0 rating, so equal upvotes and downvotes. And Libram has a 9.
Now do Shaman.
Well, Shaman's actually a word. It's actually a word that's in the English dictionary. And both Shaman and Shaman are correct, accepted pronunciations of the word.
No, they're both correct, but we only accept one.
The pronunciation shaman is listed first in the dictionary.
Okay. Which dictionary?
The dictionary.
Okay, because there's only one. It's just one dictionary between like 6 billion people, and we just share it.
Yeah,
one at a time.
A dictionary.
It's locked away somewhere.
Yeah. And before we break down this matchup, because it is a different matchup than we expected the mirror. It is the Quest Warrior for lnguagehackr. I just want to say that this is a video game, and all of these cards in this video game are fictional. They're fictional spells, creatures, what have you. And so, at the end of the day, it comes down to the developers that created these fictional cards to determine the pronunciation. So,
you've just invoked CaelesLuna, haven't you?
Yeah.
CaelesLuna will be in our, in our mentions shortly, and that'll be it. We'll be in trouble.
Yeah, that's just a caveat. Language Hacker's just doing his thing, just hitting. This matchup's not as cut and dry as you would assume. You think, okay, aggressive deck. It's a Demon Hunter that has a lot of anti-aggro tools at its disposal, a lot of healing, a lot of big stuff. Right now, Magtheridon's going to hit the board, which in early Magtheridon is just the juice. Like, Pyro Warrior just doesn't deal with 12/12s very easily.
So, hang on. I just got to check something. Carry on. You just carry on, TJ.
But outside of like that early Magtheridon, because of the dynamic of Rakara, you have a huge amount of staying power, and then it becomes like a race between if Fled can find the actual expendable performers Failfire DreadEye combo, like the damage, and keep control of the board up until that point.
Got you. Let me know when you're ready for some very important information.
I'm ready for very important. This game's going to end in like 2 seconds, so you better be quick.
Have you heard of the Hearthstone player McBanterFace?
I have, yes.
McBanterFace has just been in touch with me to let me know that the reason that Fled's player page is such a disaster is because this is his 3rd season. So the 2 seasons worth of stats we had were right, but the bit that said it was his 2nd season was wrong, which means the number of times he's won his group is wrong. So it's still the same level of disaster, but we understand the disaster now, and that's all that matters.
All right. Well, I'm glad you gave that point quickly because Fled did just win, and just had an insane follow-up to that early game. Right. That's why Magtheridon's on the list. It's in the list for multiple reasons. It's a board clear in a box. That's reason 1. Reason 2 is in those super long control mirrors where they're not going to give you a minion to attack into. A combo you can give yourself minions to attack into with expendable performers to get that little extra burst of damage. In this case, Language Hacker realizing not going to be able to kill that 12/12 is dead in 2 turns, and that's that. So, Language Hacker, King of Friday, it'll stay that way. And Fled has made it through his first Friday. And we fell into this trap of, all right, we focused so much on Fled's 2nd season last season because that was the season where he won his group 6 times. That was where he had never competed on a Friday all throughout season 2. I forgot about his 1st season. So there you have it.
Yep, absolutely crushing performance really there in the end for the mirror. That's sort of how mirrors go sometimes. He won the mirror within the mirror, the warrior mirror, and that sort of broke the shell open, broke the thing. He did a thing that made it all open up and made it easier for him.
That's right.
I've cast a lot of Hearthstone today.
As have I.
As have you, TJ. And Fled in a fantastic position now. Like, joking aside, he's going to be up to 6 points at least after this performance. Already looking in a good spot, and great news for him is that he'll be able to challenge for maybe those top 2 seeds and get that advanced seeding now. Obviously, he's not certain to be in the top 8, but it's very likely. And with power to add to that, he is looking to possibly be the number 1 seed. Be really exciting if Fled can be up there at the end.
Yeah, I think that would be quite spectacular, and it'll just take a decent week 3 in order to make that happen, and a decent performance tomorrow as well. So, but we've reached our halfway point already. Even though we had a late start, we're kind of chugging along right through these matches. So we're going to have to go to our halftime break, but when we come back, we're going to have 2 more matches here on Decider Match Friday. So don't go anywhere. More America's Grandmasters right after this.
Hello and welcome everyone to a brand new competitive year, a new season of Grandmasters, and most importantly, a new competitive format. Making its debut in week 2 of our first season of Hearthstone Grandmasters this year will be the brand new format called Trio, and fortunately for you, your boy Sottle is here to talk you through exactly how it works. Trio starts with all players in the tournament being offered the same groups of 3 different classes. For example, Druid, Paladin, and Mage. There can be any number of these groups, but crucially, all players receive the same options. Players then select one group of classes blindly without knowing what anyone else in the tournament has selected, but crucially knowing that all players have selected from the same options they did. Importantly, these class buckets do not contain any cards that you must play or even a suggestion of an archetype. Each player has complete freedom to build whatever they like within the classes they have chosen. Once all players have chosen and submitted their lineup, then the actual match format is just good old-fashioned best of 5 conquest, only in this case with no ban, because each player only has a 3-deck lineup. For those of you unfamiliar with conquest, that just means that each player is free to queue any deck they like for the duration of the series, but after each deck wins, it is then no longer eligible for selection. The first player to win with all 3 of their decks is declared victorious and wins the series. So what's the big idea here? Well, we like Conquest as a format. It generally works, it creates interesting strategies and risk-reward calculations which are generally pretty fun to watch. However, there is a risk that, particularly deep into a certain metagame, you create an amount of homogeneity and repetition as these alleged optimal order strategies evolve and players start to follow those strategies. With Trio, you have a lot more agency to force players out of their comfort zone. For example, if a particular class is underrepresented, let's say Warlock, you can force every player to play Warlock by just including Warlock in every single one of the class groupings that are available. Conversely, if a class is overrepresented, let's just say, I don't know, Priest, for example, you could force every player in the tournament not to play Priest by not including Priest in any of the class groupings that are available. You could even do things like pair classically aggro classes alongside classically control classes, which would force players to demonstrate a range of skills. There really are myriad options that you can present to players to make them think outside of the box. And then the layers really start to appear. If you notice that every available set of classes has a Warlock in it, do you build a full anti-Warlock strategy, safe in the knowledge that every opponent you face is 100% guaranteed to have Warlock in their lineup, and you can just beat up on that Warlock and prevent it from getting its required conquest win? Do you make your own Warlock something annoying and off-meta to prevent your opponents from being able to do the same thing to you? But there will be plenty of time for deeper strategy breakdowns during our debut broadcast, which you should absolutely watch, by the way, youtube.com/Hearthstone Esports. In short, Trio format allows a tournament organizer to present a unique, tricky, crunchy puzzle to players to try and solve for each individual tournament or each week of play that they have to face, really putting their game knowledge and their deck building to the test. So that is all you need to know. What is your first impression of the Trio format? What groupings do you think the Hearthstone Esports team are going to throw at our players for our trial week in Grandmasters? Will this format last longer than Specialist? Give me the answer to all those questions, and any questions you might have, put them down below in the comment section, and make sure to hit the subscribe button on the Hearthstone Esports YouTube so that you do not miss a single event in what is sure to be an absolutely packed year of Hearthstone Esports content. Thanks everyone, and take care.
everybody. Welcome back to America's Grandmasters. Thanks for sticking with us through our halftime break. It's time to jump into decider match number 3 here on Friday. I'm TJ, that's Neil. And the players that we're about to see are CaelesLuna and Pun. Pun, a new Grandmaster. Okay.
Okay.
For some reason, I thought the lineups were different, but they are practice partners as well. That's what I wanted to mention. And they came in here with the same lineup. However, they're not exactly the same. There's a 1 card difference in all 3. No, sorry. Yeah, in all 3 of the lists. A single card difference in all 3 of the lists.
1 in each of 3 or 1 total?
1 in each of the 3 lists. There is a 1 card difference. In the Warrior, there's -1 Corsair Cash for Pun, +1 Brawl. In the Hunter, there is -1 Carrion Studies, +1 Explosive Trap for Pun. And in the Druid, there is -1 Best in Shell, +1 Wild Growth for Pun. A single card difference each of the lists.
Best in Shell is really interesting to me because it's almost never useful, and yet it was incredibly useful in the semi-finals at the Masters Tour when it got soloed, eclipsed into Best in Shell to lock out a game.
Wait. No, there's more differences in the Druid. Sorry. I just looked at the 3. Pun also doesn't run Fungal Forces at all. So +2 Feral Rage and -2 Fungal Fortunes for Pun in that one.
Well, that's a big difference now.
That's a big difference. All right, yeah. Now we're looking at some hefty differences. So the other lists have the 1. The Druid is the difference. He's Feral Rage instead of Fungal Fortunes. All right.
I was just waiting for the bit now to go where, and the Hunter is a Paladin. And all right. Kazakus, Armor, Druid. And we saw how some of these Kazakhstan decks can be pretty ridiculous. In case you've been living under a rock for the last, or a bunker for the last sort of month or something, Kazakhstan decks, when they ramp into Kazakhstan, are absolutely ridiculous. We saw it in the first match of the day where DreadEye just went crazy with ramp. But this isn't the ramp version. This is slightly slower and slightly healthier.
Well, it's got ramp. It's got the same amount.
Yeah, it's got huge amounts of ramp.
Yeah. Exactly the same amount of ramp because of that wild growth that Pun has decided to include in the list. But it doesn't pack quite the punch as we see from that other Druid. It is essentially all in on Kazakhstan, but it gets to Kazakhstan a little bit easier because of Capture Cold Tooth Mine. Not only is that just another card draw source, but it also is a card draw source that will specifically get you Kazakhstan since it is the highest cost card in the deck. So we shall see. Both these players are just going to be racing to get to Kazakhstan because that's
what the race is about
with Kazakhstan. Yeah.
Yeah. I like this from CaelesLuna. If you're going to play Fungal Fortunes, then play it. And that's what CaelesLuna is going with. If you're going to put it in your deck, don't be scared of it. It could do some bad things to you, but that's why it's there.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why Pun isn't playing it.
You can play it and still be scared of it.
Nah. Got to treat these as your friend.
It's just so good, regardless. Like,
my greetings.
Well, not regardless. Okay. It's cool.
I was told we might see some emotes in this match, by the way. That's not just because I've just seen us start with. We may see some salty emotes as well in the middle of the match.
Just to clarify, you were told by one of the players.
By somebody who knows both players.
I know both players.
No, but
you also know both players.
But somebody who was playtesting
yourself?
with both players has told me that to expect emotes.
Did you playtest with both players?
No.
Okay.
Do I sound like I playtested at all? I mean, I did playtest quite a lot, actually, but yeah. Do I sound like it? So emotes, and I sort of written it off as just a throwaway comment until I saw the opening hello greetings, and now I'm suspicious that we might see a lot of emoting going on when the first person plays Kazakhstan in this game in particular. But I might be wrong.
So,
it might be misleading.
So CaelesLuna went for the ultra brave play with a capture Coldtooth Mine in hand. Still decided to Funkle Fortunes. Bravery. Ooh.
Oh, and nearly unrewarded him.
Oh. All right. So can't be played this turn. 1 mana off.
Okay.
And because of that, the turn becomes a little awkward.
Yeah.
Because everything wants to draw a card.
But also you
has enough cards.
And the cards are good ones. So cycling is best in shell, which is what he's planning to do if the waving about is anything to go by. Is just like, okay. Oh my goodness. Yeah, the
breathing intensifies.
Yeah, it's just a setup, right? Just get everything and then go next turn.
I want to guff it.
Your opponent's got a lot of mana. You sure you're comfortable guffing it?
Yeah.
All right, let's guff.
You could go Lightning Bloom, Innervate, Guff, and then coin Ramp with Guff.
Okay. Okay.
And then you're not playing Kazakhstan next turn. But I don't think you'd play it next turn anyway, because you'd play Guff.
And now has the news that it's unlikely Pun is going to play Kazakhstan next turn either, just because this is the 6 mana's plenty for Druid to play an 8 mana card. That's how 8 mana cards work. However, if the Mine gets played, then CaelesLuna knows that there will be a Kazakhstan next turn.
Ooh.
But now the Mine won't be played. It might actually fetch a Lightning Bloom. Yeah.
Yeah, but it depends. Does Pun want a Lightning Bloom, or does Pun want to be able to pick a specific treasure to draw?
Could also just get a Scale of Elixir as a board clear, because a lot of the treasures interact well with wide boards.
My hand is too full.
Oh, well, it looks like it is Kazakhstan. It was never Guff.
Put the emote theory to the test. Is there going to be an emote?
All right, what are we looking for here? Embers?
How many cards did you want? They're all good.
Book of the Dead still costs 14.
If we'd had a chance to look at the first 3 cards, we might know what he wanted here. But
Well, I think it was Embers, Banana Split, and Book of the Dead.
probably, yeah.
Because of Neuhorn's right here.
Yeah. Never seen anyone pick that quickly. I've seen him pick quickly, but that was faster than Bly's. Faster than the speed of Bly's. Guess what? It's Kazakhstan.
I got one too.
Can you go a bit slower than Caeles? Thanks.
Ooh.
Tough first pick. I just like the knife, but it might be wrong here because it's such a weird level playing field. Maybe it is Banana Split.
I like Clockwork Assistant. Looks like it was knife. Embers.
Probably, yeah.
Eesh.
No guff, so it makes presence a bit worse because you don't get to go completely crazy with your cards.
Yeah, and also Embers was a tougher choice too, because without Guff and CaelesLuna having Guff, CaelesLuna will get to a point where you can play Solar Embers. These are... Whoa,
It's not been good, has it? It's not been good. CaelesLuna has got a better deck than Pun right now. You know, they play testers together. Now they're 10-card decks. Oh, that's an 8-card deck. That means something.
Time to Guff.
But I didn't see... I'm losing. I didn't see the sword get picked, but 8-card deck suggests it was.
I don't... That's...
How else can you get an 8-card deck? Keldala, whatever the thing is. Okay, back to Killers.
So... I think Bloom Guff.
Time waits for no one.
Yep. Doesn't have the information that Pun has a bad deck, but does have the information that he's got a good deck himself.
Okay.
All right.
CaelesLuna worried about if Pun...
There you go. Because 8-card deck.
Yeah. I was going to say, CaelesLuna worried about if he goes for Guff and doesn't have any development, and Pun develops, then he'd be behind.
Yeah, and the comeback mechanisms aren't going to be great, are they? To be fair.
No. It will not be.
CaelesLuna does actually have an idea that Pun's deck was kind of mediocre because he knows the 8-card deck thing.
Yeah.
But Keldala, while it's kind of the answer here, a boom bot on average does 2.5 damage. And there's, what, 7 of them? So 7 2.5s is, what, 17.5? Something like that.
That's fine.
I guess it is, isn't it? Sometimes.
Fine.
Oh, you've got to go! A rope!
Hasha!
Right, so Pun should have 14.5 health at the end of this.
1,
13.5.
2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 1. Wow.
What a load of stinky bots.
Now CaelesLuna does not a lot.
Guess there's some
A
way.
lot of expensive treasures. Yeah, but I don't think there's a single treasure that CaelesLuna can play. Because there's Embers, there's one Book of the Dead, there's one Boombox, there's 2 Annoya Horns, and then 2 Knives, I believe, was the last pick. None of which are playable.
Okay.
All right, never mind. It was never that. It's the poison.
Time waits for no one.
Need to get something in play, Keles, or you're in trouble. But, oh my goodness, what's going on? Can't play either of them. Well, realistically, you can't play either of them.
This is actually very close to lethal.
Uh-huh. I mean, it's 1 mana short.
Solar Moon Touched Hero Power is 17.
5 plus 6 is 17. Can't see any more.
There got a Moonlit that can get some. What about a pouch?
Pouch on how much? How much damage do we need? We need 4.
You can get another Moon Touched amulet.
That would do it.
You go Solar, Moon Touched, and then Pouch, and then get either Feral Rage or another amulet.
Time waits for no one.
The amulet would be not corrupted.
Doesn't matter. It's 4 attack. The corrupted is the armor.
Yeah, okay. So that's good.
Well, he's completely out of time now, so.
Yeah. Wait, what? Really is out of time? Because there's plenty of time to have a go for that then. All right.
Oh, no. Sorry. I was incorrect. It wouldn't have been lethal because I calculated the hero power, which would have been 2. Would have been 1 off. It was 17 with a hero power.
Got you. And there was
without a hero power, it was only 16. Yep.
But here it is.
That'll be
Embers,
and that'll be a game. All right. Well, it seemed like Pun didn't get the good treasures, but CaelesLuna didn't ramp at all. So that ended up being a big issue because he wasn't able to play any of the good treasures. Like there was so many possibilities for just an OTK and just wasn't able to get there. And it's not often that we see CaelesLuna, but it got a lot of work done for Pun. So some good choices. I still want to see how that game would have played out if it was Guff.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing was made very difficult. The turn you said you'd have liked to Guff, CaelesLuna never had any mana after that point, right? So
yeah,
all the ramp had gone because it was all invested into getting out the early Kazakhstan. And like you've said, he wasn't able to play those good things that he picked up, so takes it down for Pun. And now on to Kazakhstan Control Warrior.
Oh, yeah. This is the goods right here. The goods. Double Brawl for Pun, which is not standard. Apparently he changed his deck. So he's not playing the Warrior. But so I'm not going to talk about it anymore, which means that he would be playing the Hunter, which we can't talk about. It is the Quest Hunter with Drekthar and King Mukla. That's right. There's a King Mukla in this deck. Drekthar, double Viper too, and Professor Slate. So pretty minion heavy, to be quite honest. That's kind of cool, actually.
Yep, I like the Mukla. It's just more damage. Obviously, it's a 5/5, so it's more defense as well. It's just heavy, it's just big, isn't it? But like I say, minion heavy relative to other quest hunters, at least. And that's going to make it more variable. Sometimes you get a couple of Vipers, which is going to be a little bit irritating for you. They're just kind of there because they can be got rid of, they can be useful, and you're not always going to... You're going to sometimes draw one minion, so you want to make sure that your Drekthar does its job. And CaelesLuna is going back to the well, or the mine in this case.
All right. The carrion studies is really interesting in this Quest Hunter.
Keeps the fungal again.
Often. Well, of course. You can go capture Coldtooth Mine, get your...
Yes.
On.
And then you can play Capture Coldtooth Mine again, because you've got 2 of them now, and get your book of 14.
Job's done. Fear cannot break me. It will only reveal my true...
How long is that voice line? Fear cannot break me, it only reveal my true strength.
Well, it'd be funnier if it said, fear cannot break me, it'll only reveal my true strength. However, and then another speech bubble popped up.
With sometimes other things can break me, like druids. So I'm scared, but not broken.
Oh, Nerubian Egg is cool. Like 2 minions. Because that's the downside of this deck, right? Is against decks that don't play minions.
Wait,
it's hard for you to complete quests.
So why aren't we just playing it?
Yeah, good point. Oh, you can even Dragonbane shot it and get a Dragonbane shot back?
And get a thing, and then you can double Dragonbane shot the thing, kind of, if you've got two of them in your hand. And, we've solved the meta, TJ, just in time.
Dragonbane shot?
Yeah.
Ah, it's aim shot this time.
Look at this!
It's free!
Bam! 3/4/4.
Progresses quest, keeps the spell, and gets a 4/4. Very cool.
This looks really familiar. CaelesLuna hand. It's a bunch of amp and a Kazakusan.
Yeah, this looks really familiar. Literally every player on ladder right now.
Yep.
Has this exact same hand.
Except against me, we're on turn 3. They've probably already got Kazakusan on board or something. That's how I roll.
Wow. Pun is actually on track for like a very fast quest completion, despite no enemy minions.
Yeah, and he's not messing around with his damage either. Like, Dragonbane shot, who cares? Put it in the face. Didn't need that anyway.
Yeah.
And he can do that, I presume, because of the Drekthar to some degree, right? Because he's got Mukla, he's got Drekthar, he's got some stuff that he's able to play on top of all the damage spells in the deck. So can just try and push for almost lethal. He took the aimed shot for maximum damage a minute ago as well over the second other shot. So really is pushing for huge amounts of damage here. Well aware of the clock that he's up against.
Yeah. Still no ramp, though, and a blue Muse. So there will only be 3 mana, well, 4 with the Innervate available to CaelesLuna next turn. And
might take the Looming Presence here, even though I'm a big Crusty fan, because it's great. But Looming Presence, bit of armor. If you can't play much anyway, that was the trouble last game when he couldn't play his cards. So a lot of defensive options there and basically no offense at all, but that might not turn out terribly. Oh, so much damage! It's huge amount of damage.
I mean, it's just a lethal setup next turn.
Yeah.
From hand, with just aim shot hero power, let alone what Furious Howl could possibly pick up. Is a Looming Presence, however. And I believe that CaelesLuna did pick in a knife. Which can almost guaranteed be tutored out next turn if this Kazakhstan does live, which it probably won't here.
Maybe.
If I were Pun, I'd be incredibly worried. And it's not like he's going to be hurting for damage because Furious Howl can complete the quest this turn.
It's such a hard choice, though. Because your opponent has to have had pretty much exactly knife and drawn it.
Or have any... yeah, well, just drew 2 cards last turn. Like,
I mean, yeah, but it had to be in the pool as well, which it could be. It's just a hard choice. I'm not saying it's wrong to kill it. I'm just saying it's. I can see why he's roping the turn. Just so close to that lethal. If he doesn't have a knife, you kind of just win.
It's not even like that big of a sacrifice to kill it because you're getting the Dragonbane shot back and you're still pushing damage. You're still very likely, well, not very likely, but you're still setting up for what could possibly be a 2-turn lethal.
It absolutely makes sense.
Now 4, 5, 6, 7, and not quite lethal for the next turn. Looming Presence again.
Yes. Still not much. Oh.
Spyglass is interesting. Was there a knife picked up?
I thought there was, but I could be wrong. Whenever I confirm you, I'm biased because I assume you're right. But I did think there was.
There's your problem. Do the opposite. Always assume that I'm wrong.
It doesn't seem very nice.
That's baseball, baby.
Well, baseball's not nice, or something else?
Sure.
Here's your boy Tavish. Another lethal setup.
All right. Well, we're going to see what those last treasures are.
CaelesLuna's celebrating, so that's interesting.
But why?
Yeah, I'm so confused right now. It's like, yay, oh, 1/1s.
Oh, okay. So when you give a bomb lifesteal,
Yeah.
the damage that it deals also heals.
Okay.
That's. Am I missing something?
Oh, he's going to make a 5/5 and because he's got the buff.
Okay. Oh, I
Makes
thought
far
that was
more
the
sense.
poison. Oh man, I'm dumb. I thought that was destroy minion.
I also thought that. So why do I have to be dumb in the same ways as you? If we could be dumb in different ways, we could help each other. But because we're dumb in the same ways.
However, it ain't over. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. An aim shot off of this Furious Howl would be lethal. I don't know if I want to kill this bomb. I think you got to find lethal like right now. You get
So
two draws.
So much
Makes
your things so much better.
You're right. Because when a bomb has life steal, the bomb damage still gives you life. Unless it's changed since the days of Ziliax.
Oh, those recent days of Ziliax. Yes. We're going to find out. 14 is the magic number.
Yeah.
Oh, he got the +2. So you are correct, TJ. And Pun setting double problems here, right? I mean, one problem is he might just die, but other than that, the board is lethal, and now the hand is probably lethal from where CaelesLuna is sat. Although, as it happens, Pun drew very mediocrely.
Yeah. I mean, Moonlit Guidance is guaranteed to get knife, but then the injection wouldn't be able to be played. Spyglass, gonna take a look at what's in the hand. Okay, knows there's an arcane shot.
Now the guidance.
Yep. And playing the knife this turn would also give you just an extra copy of knife. And again, you could use the bomb damage also as life gain.
Eventually. Yeah.
Eventually. Yep.
Here we go.
Well, right now.
1. And clears.
Okay. Still an awkward
another
spot,
howl.
however.
That's 2, 3, 4. This has got to be lethal sometimes.
It's always lethal sometimes.
Surely the house, so many
have
cards.
Enough mana to go. Boom bots. What's the last card again? For CaelesLuna?
I'll work this out.
Spyglass.
Yes, Spyglass.
Yeah, so I don't think there's a way for CaelesLuna to win regardless. But this is just lethal, isn't it?
Unless there's a miracle. I think it's just lethal even without a miracle, yeah.
It's lethal without a miracle. Yeah, so...
Thank
Yeah.
you for being strong.
Thank you for being strong.
Got pretty close there at the end. Needed a bit more healing from the Boombot damage, right? Because there was a 2 and a 1. If CaelesLuna was able to get like a 3 and a 4, that would have been 4 more points of health, which would have kept them alive for more time. But there was just no way for CaelesLuna to like set anything up. It would have had to been a full turn of setup, right? Because Pun was not playing a minion there, because Pun had seen all the treasures up until that point. And I don't think there was anything that Spyglass could have given that would have been enough.
They were just all defensive, but with no threats. I mean, Scale's not really a threat at this particular time, right? You're probably going to get an explosive trap or something in the way a lot of the time. And there was just no way for CaelesLuna to actually win the game. Lots of ways to slow it down and not lose it, but it probably would have even come down to fatigue in the end because there's so little damage hiding in there.
Yeah.
Or maybe the Boombox number 2 had a chance, but yeah.
And that is now 2-0 for Pun up. And now it's the Kazakhstan Warrior. Okay, now...
This time he has to play it.
Yeah, this time he has to play it. Yeah, there it is. 2 brawls, 1 Corsair cache. A little bit different from the normal double Corsair cache, 1 brawl. And I like this decision because so many times 1 Corsair cache does nothing. It just feels that way. And there's also so many times where I'm like, I really don't want to brawl, but I gotta brawl. I don't want to brawl because my only one, but I gotta, or I die. And then you really wish you had the second brawl. In an open deckless format like this one, it's a little bit less valuable because if I'm on ladder right now and I'm playing against Control Warrior, I know that 1 brawl is pretty standard in the list. So after the first brawl happens, I never play around the second one because I know that it's very unlikely to be there.
Until tomorrow or until Monday, if Pun wins this tournament, you can bet there'll be 2 brawls in every deck. Because last Monday, the first thing that happened is I just kept queuing into Fled's deck.
That's just Quest Warrior.
No, Fled's deck from last week, Ping Mage with Mooklers and...
Oh, well, we were talking about Warrior.
What I'm saying is, what we do here influences the whole of ladder. So if Pun wins this, everybody will copy Pun's list. If they haven't already. Ladder may already be infested with people now just playing 1 Corsair cache and 2 brawls because they've heard you talk, and or they will have in a few minutes' time. And that's that. They'll just copy it.
Gotcha. All right. Guff.
But no, I agree with your reasoning. I think that Corsair Cache is a very cluttery card in the current environment. You kind of need one. Of course, you want to get your axe.
No, it isn't. Guff.
Guff's cluttery. It fills your hand full of cards.
Guff. What are you doing? Guff stuff.
Guff stuff.
Meanwhile, Pun's
ready.
Like, what is my life?
I'm going to just kill the first 23 things you play, and that's it.
Yeah. This is a good hand to have post Kazakhstan.
Yes.
You got a little bit of this, you got a little bit of that. You got a pouch, you got a solar, you got a moonlit guidance. Moonlit guidance is just an extra treasure. Resizing pouch.
It's just an
extra. Could be anything.
Yeah, it's just huge.
Or another Kazakhstan. Oh.
Okay.
Looks like CaelesLuna wants to ramp one more time.
Yeah. Excuse me. So you might as well play these as cycle them, I guess.
Yeah. Or wants one more card. Because if you Kazakhstan too quick, you can sometimes just run out of gas, right?
But we saw that in both the previous 2 games from CaelesLuna in a way. The first game ran out of gas in the form of mana, and the second game ran out of gas because, in fairness, the cards were a bit of garbage, but in terms of cards, so yeah. Against the
But at the same time, you want to Kazakhstan quickly because it gives your opponent less mana / resources to deal with your treasures.
Mm-hmm. But in this instance, your opponent has resources that are actually going to have to start wasting because their hand is full, so you can afford to take it a little slower. Plus, you've got 9 mana and they've got 5. Next turn, though, CaelesLuna would be well advised to play the Kazakhstan. I'm sure he will. Mutinous becomes available. That would be a horrific accident. Blam!
Yeah, Kazakhstan 100% comes down this turn. 1,000%.
10,000%.
Big minion? I'd say big minion.
Big minion's good unless you want to go for Blade and make your other cards better. Or, yeah, it went for Blade. If you get the smaller deck and your other 3 treasures are really good.
You're cold?
Yeah, I think so. Cut the warriors. X. Okay. Feels like a long journey to 48.
Yeah, well, 43.
Sure, yeah. Well, 44.
Well, no.
What's guff?
39.
Sure.
Guff. Wow.
Well, you're never going to have much more armor than this for the rest of your game, so Shield Slam's tempting.
I like armor up, shield shatter,
okay,
core, coin shield slam.
That's quite tasty. You're trying to get the Rancor to do something, which makes some sense.
Then Rancor, if CaelesLuna picked the Dr. Boom's Boomtastic
Boomers
boombox, then you want the Rancor.
This must be the way.
All right, Wax Rager, that's good.
Yeah, good luck getting rid of that.
Oh, Wax Rager, that's good.
Good luck getting rid of that.
All right, setting up for survival of the fittest, Lethal. Solar survival?
Yep.
Hello?
Guff.
I mean, and even if you, this is a lesson. Even if you put 2 brawls in your deck.
Yeah.
You don't draw it.
It doesn't really matter that much anyway, because double Wax Rager.
All right, if I'm pun, what am I doing here?
Game 4. I mean, you've got 8 mana with a coin. Like, you can survive many different ways for one more turn, but why?
Pun has played 2 cards this game. All right, 3 cards.
Missed Control Warrior. Huh?
Double shield shatter, I guess.
Really? Are you assuming there is a survival?
He's got 10 cards.
Yeah.
I don't. Even if there's not a survival.
All right, one of each.
How much damage we got? All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. We got. That's lethal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Each
Easily.
survival.
Yeah.
Is 32 damage. Oh no. Each survival is 16 damage.
16, so
Double
32
survival's
plus
32.
7. Yeah. And then you look at the outside minions as well as the inside minions and find 7 more and realize it's super lethal.
Yeah. All right. CaelesLuna. Point on the board. 2-1 now. And still the Kazakhstan warrior left. It's a mirror. Which means that CaelesLuna has the same decks that Pun just won with. So the Quest Hunter and Kazakhstan Warrior. Which Kazakhstan Warrior seems like a very weird mirror.
That's surely got to be just whoever gets there first, right?
Yeah. Probably.
Not entirely, because your backup cards are very important, obviously. If your opponent's Kazakhstan deck, you can sort of just deplete it. That's really important, obviously. It's so dependent on what the deck needs a little marker on it. So after you've picked your Kazakhstan deck, your opponent should get a grade for how good your Kazakhstan deck is. So like C+. So they can play accordingly. The game decides how good your Kazakhstan deck is and tells your opponent, B-, pretty good deck. It'll do. Or F, all the cards are garbage.
Yeah, but sometimes the treasures are really good. The game would have no way of knowing.
But, I mean, Zephyrus never had any way of knowing, and people played that, so, you know.
Well, Zephyrus knew some things, just not...
Well, we teach the deck something.
Okay, so if the rating was about as smart as Zephyrus, I still wouldn't trust it.
But if you played enough, you'd be able to ascertain how the rating works. If it comes up A+, you know that it's got all the best cards according to the rating system, so you know the deck. I think that'd be really good. I think I should be a game designer.
Godspeed, Neil.
Thanks, DJ. Thanks.
All right. So, Kazakhstan Warrior versus Quest Hunter.
We've seen this before.
Sort of, yeah. We saw it versus Charge Warrior, and the Quest Hunter came out on top. I feel like the Kazakhstan Warrior is going to be very similar.
Yep. Keeping the good card, surprisingly enough. Well, the 2 good cards, I guess. Imagine throwing the quest. This deck would do... Like some decks, you just throw away the quest in some matchups. Imagine throwing it away in this deck. You just wouldn't do anything. I'm going to go low, because that's all you can do as the warrior.
The Magni armor up is just so satisfying.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Whomp.
How's it go?
Not going to do
Have to wait a turn, I guess, now, before you do it again. Yeah.
Yeah. Play Professor Slate? You going to give Pun a reason to play cards?
Well,
Although green is very good.
the other side of that is you've got to activate your card draw somehow.
Wait, that was lethal.
Oh, yeah, just arcane shot face. Play face. Yeah.
That joke never gets old.
$500 and a point, TJ. That's what it's all about.
$500 and a point. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, he's got to empty the hand out for the Furious Howls, I think. So playing minions down kind of makes sense to me.
I really want to save this Wound Prey for the piercing shot, though. I guess there's no... Yeah. And I also don't want a coin, because I don't think there's a reason to. Coin later turns into 2 damage. And... Oh, okay. Fine. Fine.
That'll be why Psycho took the desk imp earlier, won't it?
Yep. I don't really know what you're talking about, but I'll take your word for it.
Took a desk imp over a spell, which didn't look like it made any sense. But now it makes sense. Of course, piercing shot.
Yeah. Gonna play the Bulwark now to get the ooze out of the way. Or Viper. Did it again.
I love it. I never correct you either. I just love it. You say ooze. It's just good. I thought you did it on purpose for the longest time. Because you do everything else on purpose, even though you pretend to be clumsy and silly. But the ooze thing actually annoys you, so now I'm glad that you do it, because it makes me smile.
It doesn't even look anything like an ooze.
No.
It's quite obviously a Viper.
Yeah. Like, it's not like Snake Totem or whatever it's called, that quite clearly is a snake, but actually it's a Murloc dancing around a totem. This is obviously
snake
a Viper.
totem? What are you talking about?
A totem that's a snake. Taunt totem that just looks like a snake.
Claw totem?
Yeah. Looks like a snake, unless you pay attention to the picture properly and see the full art. Snake.
I never thought it looked like a snake.
Well, it does look like a snake. Always. Until you see the full art and realise, oh, silly me, it's not at all a snake.
No, it looks like a totem. And it's always looked like a totem. Full art or not full art. All right, what are we picking here? I guess it's just maximum damage. Ooh.
That's
Forge Fiend, I guess, but it's so expensive.
What about just taking the middle on the Dragon Maw? It's not the middle card, the middle of the 3 sizes. Because a 5, 6, and a 3, 4 are both kind of just cards that do something. Just plus it on the board.
Just wants the cheapest. Play it. Get out of the way.
Also fair. Trying to dump into this Howl, which makes a lot of sense, obviously.
Still gets a hero power. Good. Pun can now get a card draw.
Yeah.
Does he want to Corsair Cash first? That would require a trade-in with the Onyxian Drake, which is not that bad, because you don't really want to leave minions on board, because that gives CaelesLuna targets for, like, Bola Shot, Overwhelm. Yeah. Piercing Shot, whatever.
Also allows for a cutting class, because can't trust there isn't a second Viper lurking about. But still just going for the armor, because realizing...
Oh, okay. None of the above.
I race you.
Oh, but now Dragon Bait Shot.
Perfect card for the situation, except he was trying to dump cards, but even so, he'd rather have the good card. Maybe he won't, maybe he'll dump it. Actually. Because it's not going to have many other targets, this game. I love how the 9-1 technically could survive this turn. I mean, it would get traded into... Could technically connect for 9, but everyone knows it never, ever does.
Yeah. CaelesLuna very afraid of Mutinous. And wisely so. Floats 5 mana just to be able to make sure that he can play spell plus quest, or spell plus quest reward next turn.
Yeah. And there it is. So correctly afraid.
Yep.
Pun just pushing the damage.
I mean, If Pun lives long enough, there's lethal with the last swing of this weapon. 3 swings of Outrider's Axe, or 2 swings of Outrider's Axe into Rakara double swing hero power.
Yep. I mean, yep.
I mean,
Yep.
yep.
All right, Bladestorm, quite happy.
The problem is living that long.
Yeah, that's always the problem in Hearthstone. When your plan is swing at your face 17 turns in a row, you better have good backup plans.
Armor up. Heavy plate. Field slam.
I think so.
Swing.
Oh,
Buckler shield slam. Swing.
sure.
The only tough thing about this is if like Drekthar is picked up. Now the Frozen Buckler plus Shield Shatter combo is
Yeah, but there's a Nixia.
cut off.
Yeah. Nixia and
Then you're
Bladestorm.
armoring up. Well, Bladestorm, there's a King Mukla in the deck.
Sure. Yep.
But whatever, you know.
There's a lot of whatever. Fishy Flyer. I haven't seen that card since it was the best card in Hearthstone.
Mountain Bear.
If you'd asked me, is Mountain Bear a card in Hearthstone? I'm not actually sure I'd have known yes or no.
Mountain Bear is sick.
5/6 taunt for 7.
No, we had this conversation. We watched decks being played with Mountain Bear somewhere. And I
Not
told
me.
you about how sad it wasn't you?
Can't have been me.
Thought it was
I've
you.
never forgotten the conversation.
And I told you how sad Mountain Bear is as a card.
No, it's not me.
How tragic it is. It wasn't
Why
you.
is it tragic? It must have been in the Master Store because I don't remember this.
Because look at the art. It's a mountain bear that's trying to protect its cubs,
Uh-huh.
and they're hiding underneath their mother. And then when you kill it, it's only the cubs left.
Quite sad.
You see what I mean? It's the only card that That's the only card that hits me deep. You know.
Okay. This is a lot of damage, and it's going to be a lot of cards as well.
Probably not lethal with 3 mana.
It's ridiculous, but yeah, probably not lethal. But it could
If
be.
it's
That's
not
what's
lethal for
ridiculous.
CaelesLuna, Pun wins.
Yeah, because Rakara's in hand.
Okay, not anymore though. Because CaelesLuna can bowl a shot. But then CaelesLuna will have exactly next turn to kill Pun. See, you live long enough, that a lot of damage starts to rack up. And Pun's like, oh, one off. However, Rakara gains 10 life and sets up for a 2-turn lethal. I think Pun might have this. CaelesLuna needs a lot of damage next turn.
Quick shot in hand, infinite spell damage. So play Mukla, play whatever you draw, play quick shot, draw another card. Not that much, is it?
I don't know.
Right, it's not that much.
Not that much.
I need 21 in some circumstances, 19 in others. 9 in some, but not many.
Pun also draws cutting class. You don't need to armor up, or you don't need your Rakara hero power. So you can armor up and then Rakara.
Uh-huh.
I think Pun was just looking real quick to see if there was anything from the cutting class that could be played. There is a heavy plate.
There it is.
Ooh, and it is. So that was the only punish for hero powering first. But I don't know if CaelesLuna is going to be able to deal 21.
Not now.
Definitely not with the Rindling's rifle.
No. That quick shot's got to go into another quick shot, which has got to go into... Oh, it's got to go into Dragonbane's shot, which has got to go into Arcane
No,
shot.
there's no mana. Because you can't draw with quick shot unless you play Mukla and Rindling's rifle.
Yes,
all right,
can't
Fusion
even
Trap,
cast
cool.
it.
Still dead to the weapon. Yeah, Pun got it.
Battle of the Playtesters, number 1 goes to Pun. 3-1 and gets through to Saturday. 2 points on the board. CaelesLuna struggling a bit this season now with only picked up that 1 point this week.
Yeah, little bit tough. A single point and not the place you want to be. Makes it very difficult to make the top 8. It's like win or bust next week for CaelesLuna, essentially. And, you know, that's tough. A lot of it did come down to that Kazakhstan Druid mirror, right? That put Pun so far ahead.
Yes.
Of the battle. And oftentimes with mirrored lineups, it comes down to like your quote unquote weakest deck overall in the matchup, which I don't even know if that was. But when you're in a mirror match and you win a mirrored deck matchup, it's always a huge advantage, regardless of which way you look at it. So, Pun, we're seeing Pun play again tomorrow. First Saturday in Grandmasters. This was the first Friday for him in Grandmasters. Tomorrow will be the first Saturday. And if he makes it to Sunday, it'll be his first Sunday.
And then what? Second Friday, second Saturday, second Sunday.
That's right. And Pun joins Monsanto as the 2 players to move on from Group C.
So do we actually change the graphic for Monsanto? Is it just every week it's just burned in there that Monsanto just wins? It's like...
Yeah, that's what it feels like. But then he loses in the quarterfinals. So.
And then he realized, oh, I better win the group again next week to make up for the points I just didn't win. He does it again.
That's right.
Well, that was another mirror match.
That's right.
Guess what we've got coming up next?
Mirror match.
Mirror match between people who playtest together.
3 in a row.
Yeah. There were 5 people with Demon Hunter, Paladin, Warrior. And 4 of them faced each other, basically, 2 of the matches. And then the ones that didn't bring that also faced each other. Because the other 3 people all have Druid, Hunter, Warrior. There's 2 buckets represented in Americas today, because that's how we roll here. And just to make it worse, we just paired them all against each other, like the identical lineups. And just in case that wasn't enough, we put the teammates and friends amongst each other as well, so they all get to have that extra mirror sort of feel to them.
Yep.
It's just how it went. But the good news is we're getting rid of half of those people today. So tomorrow it'll all be unique and good stuff because we got rid of all the pairs. That's why we did it that way.
Because we had full control.
Yeah, nothing to do with random draws and results.
Yeah, nope, nothing to do with that. That's just how we wanted it. But we've approached the time for our final break as we get ready for our final match of the day. So we're going to be right back in a few moments. When we come back, it's going to be GamerRvg taking on teammate McBanterFace to see who's going to be the final player moving on to the quarterfinals tomorrow. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to America's Grandmasters. I'm TJ, that's Neil, and we're about to bring you the final match of our Friday here of week number 2. It's GamerRvg taking on McBanterFace. 2 teammates, 2 players that brought the exact same lineup.
Is this actually exact, like card for card? You're not going to hoodwink me halfway through with, oh, but actually 7 of the cards are different or anything like that. This is like mirrored down the line, friends, teammates, top of Fled's bed, all that stuff. Putting the pressure on you.
Yes, exactly the same.
I'm not
exacties. I was about to say 120 for 120, but they only have 3 decks, so it's 90 for 90. There you go.
Libram Paladin. Libram Paladin.
Libram, actually. Libram.
Paladin. Libram.
Libram, yep. I've made the executive decision as the captain of this broadcast that we will now refer to it as Libram.
Captain of the sinking ship.
Yep.
But that ship has sailed, so it really is.
That ship has sailed. Which is weird. I'm the captain of a sinking ship that sailed. And Neil is my co-captain, and he's on both ships. That's all you need to know.
If you haven't tuned in for the last couple of years, you've got no idea what we're on about. And
it's like Neil and I have these jokes that run on forever. That if you've missed any bit of the joke from any point in time, you have no idea. So you literally have to have tuned into every broadcast since Neil and I started casting together in order to have any clue what we're talking about, because they just keep adding on top of each other. And we sincerely apologize for that.
When you word it like that, I'm wondering if maybe we shouldn't have done that all along. But it's too late now. That ship has sailed. We're just going to carry on.
Yep.
We'll wait to see what the other deck is. I mean, it's going to be the Paladin, right? Because everything is mirrored all the way down.
It's probably the Paladin.
So we're 2 teammates who have playtested together all week, try and second guess, triple guess, quadruple guess, and over guess themselves, and end up with different decisions. It's going to be the Demon Hunter for McBanterFace.
Here we go.
McBanterFace feels like he's been around forever in the competitive scene, but last season was his first season, so he hasn't. But you know, World Championship competitor, looked very, very strong all last season as well. So GamerRvg got quite a lot to live up to here. We saw him last week. He looked okay. Looked like he was a little bit nervous, but first week you're allowed to be. We'll let you off.
Yeah. It wasn't... I don't know if he was even nerves. More so... Maybe you could say that that's nerves. But just like getting used to playing in front of more people than you're used to playing in front of.
Right. So there's that feeling of not wanting to mess up rather than nerves, right? It's like, oh, I want to show people how good I am. That's not... Is that where you're going with that? I'm not nervous.
Sort of.
Don't want it to be bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That makes sense. I can buy that. But I mean, he does stream, so we know he's good. He's in GM, so we know he's good.
Yeah.
He's in Hype Horizon, so we know he's good. There he is.
Horizon producing some pretty good players, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
DreadEye's been having a ton of success. McBanterFace went to the World Championship.
Has GamerRvg turned his lights off so Fled can sleep? It just looks like that. It's great.
It also looks like there's an object like blocking, like trapping him in. How does he get out?
Fled opens the hatch.
He climbs to the top. Thanks, Fled. How'd your match go? Oh, pretty good. I won.
still not entirely sure whether from where we are stood, that ladder primarily goes up or down.
Ladders always simultaneously go up and down, Neil.
I worded this so carefully so you couldn't use that answer. It doesn't go as much up as down from this exact position. It does one more than the other.
No, it never does one more than the other. It always goes exactly the same amount up as it goes down.
Okay, if you were to travel one way on this ladder, starting from GamerRvg's room, and you couldn't come back the other way, which way, up or down, would lead to you traveling the furthest distance?
Both. They were both equal distance.
TJ so much. Anyway, he's got a trog in his opening hand, and that's a big deal. As it turns out.
Actually, if you lay a ladder flat on a level surface, it doesn't go up or down. It's neither. It's either both or neither.
I mean, it does a little bit.
No, it doesn't.
The tiniest amount. It goes much more left to right.
All right, I'm done with the ladders.
All right. Does that mean I'll get a higher ranking than you now in Legend if you're just not going to play anymore?
Yes.
Done with ladder.
If I keep playing Miracle Priest on ladder, absolutely.
You're addicted to Miracle Priest. I feel sorry for you. Because I can see how that happens to a person.
Yeah. Very fun deck. But let's get into this game. Option for GamerRvg. We saw Fled in its exact same spot earlier and went for the higher pressure option, which makes sense in against Demon Hunter, which would indicate a Stonehearth Vindicator. Yep, GamerRvg is going to do the same thing, like the play.
And until you see it, it's not a particularly intuitive play. Because Bannerman just is obvious how good it's going to be, but this is just... When you see it, it's obvious, but it's not intuitive that... Against a... Sorry?
Do they know something I don't know?
That Demon Hunters struggle to deal with 4/2 Divine Shields?
Well, Fel Barrage would deal with it quite nicely, but McBanterFace just used the Fel Barrage. I guess it's smiling because that's the best one. Because now
I think that's the point. He's just used a Fel Barrage, so now can't deal with this because he's used a Fel Barrage.
Okay.
It's kind of there.
Gotcha. I didn't think it was worth that big of a smile, but, you know, who am I, right?
They're friends. I mean, McBanterFace known for his smiles and his bantery face.
Yeah. I guess the entire time I was playing Void Touch Attendant on 1 against Soddle in practice last week, I was smiling. So that makes sense. Whereas
You
on
were?
ladder, I
Oh my
wouldn't be
goodness.
smiling.
That was every game.
Yeah.
But we had to cancel playtesting because TJ said, I'm only going to play until I don't play Void Touch Attendant on 1. And then like 7 hours later, we're still there. Sottile slowly losing his mind. And the rest of us telling TJ, you've got to play something else. And he goes, Miracle Priest.
I haven't played any other deck since. All right. Now...
Decision time now. Waste a mana, have a good thing, or don't waste a mana.
Well, it's not always wasting a mana, because Hand of Adal could pick up a 1, which the deck has plenty of. Could be a Knight of Anointment, a second Trog, an Aldor Attendant. Yeah, I like the pressure. It's not, it's a Mutinous, but Mutinous could also be very good.
Yep.
Ooh, I mean, I-Beam would be quite good here. Spectral Sight's also not bad, because Spectral Sight completes quests with the Chaos Strike, but then McBanterFace wouldn't be able to hero power and actually kill the Vindicator. Ooh.
The Sigil Runner doesn't
wait.
quest. Yeah, oh, Chaos Strike. Wait.
Yeah, yeah. Well, then you can't kill the Vindicator. That's what I just said.
Chaos
He's got
Strike.
3 health. I was going to say I like Stelina because it gives you information. It fits the curve. You're not completing quests anyway, and it challenges the board. You are worried about Carol Rome, but if you see it here, which is a 60% chance, roughly, then you would just get rid of it.
Yep.
Ooh, and see, now it's good because now GamerRvg's turn is quite weak.
Incredibly weak, in fact, and the board is challenged. Oh.
That was a really cool pick by McBanterFace. I like that. I'm digging it.
Yeah, forcing the...
Do you want to trade, though?
6 is a lot.
But
And your opponent's not
Paladin doesn't have reach. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think this is the... If he's got Arcanist spell
that's the
script
punish.
which he has now, then I get punished.
That's
but
the
then
punish.
It's bad anyway, right?
That's the punish.
That's why I think he went face, because this is bad. Even if you trade there, this is still bad. So...
No, it's bad, but this is much worse.
No, I agree entirely. But maybe he assessed that, look, it's just bad enough with the hand I've got that it's too slow. I've got to try and win now. And hope he has...
Sam McBanterFace just has a 4-2.
Oh yeah, it's absolute catastrophic. But maybe he thought it was just bad enough the other way that I'll try and win the game now. On the times that McBanterFace doesn't have it. Okay.
Okay.
So, just so many options. They're all good. Which is the safest at this point. You're so far in front as the Demon Hunter.
These are 3/4s. Double trade and keep your minions alive on board.
Yeah, and also you move the Spectral Sight to the left, which is nice.
Ooh.
Time grows short.
Okay. West goes up.
And Chaos Strike Hero Power, trade, still keep a 4-2 alive. Oh, no, okay.
Okay. Well, they're going to be bigger. But,
Oh, they were going to be bigger anyway.
yeah.
And I think that's why McBanterFace didn't play the Kirchers last turn. Because knew that with the 3 discounts on the Librams, that Libra of Hope was playable, and he knew it was in the hand because he saw it from the Star Student Delina.
So he set this up.
Yeah, nicely done.
Yeah, really tidy.
The Chaos Strike hold though, last turn, because he did float a mana. Not crazy.
He
It's
might...
only, like questionable.
There's a glide on the way, maybe?
Okay.
He doesn't want to get rid of the Chaos Strike and draw a card when if he glides, he wants a Chaos Strike in his deck so he can draw cards after the glide.
Sure.
If you draw something
I'll buy that one.
from the right-hand side, he can go cast, glide, stick in the 2 card draw cards back into his deck. Because he made the decision to keep the Spectral Sight rather than move it to the left quickly with the Kurtrus because he wanted to clear the 8/8 that he knew about, then he's gone for the glide strat. Because now, look at this. He can glide. And the Fury means he can clear. He's going to go the other way anyway, so I'm confused.
Oh, here we go. Can he complete both portions of the quest?
He can.
You Chaos Strike, trade the Need for Greed. then glide, and you have 1 mana left to be able to trade a Need for Greed again.
Or anything that you can draw that works.
Or you can just trade the, you trade the Need for Greed again, and then you glide. Boom, both quests, double quest.
Double quest. And
it can even dump Fury as well. You don't want to dump the Fellscream Blast, I don't think. Yeah. Beautifully done. Oh.
Jace.
Just the juice.
Jace.
Jace the juice. Oh.
Jace the juice.
Variant's actually incredibly good, though. That'll be a nice refill. Might be worried about second glide, however. Like if McBanterFace... It would have to be perfectly in outcast position because McBanterFace would go like Kurtrus plus glide. But that's a lot of pressure, so it's pretty large. Gonna go with something different here.
What's happened to McBanterFace? Last season he didn't move his face at all, and now his face doesn't ever rest.
That's what happens when you play the World Championship. It changes you. So this is 12, 13, 14 damage showing on board.
How much stuff's in the Jace? There's quite a bit in there, right?
There is 1 Fellscream Blast, 1 Fell Barrage, 2 Chaos Strikes, one rank 2 Fury.
It's not the right stuff, really.
No.
It's awkward.
Yeah.
So, 1, 2, 3. So you could Fellscream, Immolation Aura, Fury, Warblades. Use a Fellscream to take out the Divine Shield. And the Eldraki does... Immolation does 2 more. The Eldraki does 4 more, so it doesn't kill everything off, but it does a...
I want a Kurtrus. I really want a Kurtrus.
Oh, and you play the Warblades now, and then next turn you've got Fury, Immolation. Oh, you've got 1 of Fury, Immolation, plus Jace, plus some health gain. And you shouldn't die here.
Yeah. There's no way that you can die here, actually. Mutinous would be pretty devastating. And that's why GamerRvg didn't play the variant last turn, because he knew that Kurtrus was there. My bad. And the Jace will also draw 2 cards because of the double Chaos Strike, which will then be discounted.
Oh, and a 0 mana
Fell
Barrage is absolutely what he needed. So Immolation Aura first?
Yep. Immolation Fell Barrage.
The barrage.
Yeah, and you would kill exactly Lady Liadrin with the Fell Barrage.
Yeah.
And then you Jace, and you'll get 2 Fell Barrages, 1 Immolation Aura, and a 2 Chaos Strikes, and a rank 2 Fury.
Plenty. And apparently draw most of your combo.
Needs to hit. Oh, beautiful. Oh, yeah. Oh, just beautiful. Great job, Jace.
So at any point now, the DreadEye can be picked up. It's lethal on the spot immediately. Of course, Magtheridon. Oh, unless there's enough.
There's a lot of taunts. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Which there might be, to be fair, looking at this hand.
And you kind of want to play them all at once. So this turn, I wouldn't even mind, like, you got to calculate health on board and see if that's enough with expendable performers for McBanterFace to win. cool.
Well, you know.
Adorable infestation.
You're a meanie.
I must move quickly.
But seriously, Broom.
Yeah, it's a fact. GamerRvg has drawn a broom. Yeah, it looks like I think he's gonna keep like no health on board. Just kidding.
What?
He's going to play
He said he got 14
exactly
devices.
14 health worth of taunts. What?
It's close to 0. Like in the scale of the universe, to be fair, the universe is really big and 14's kind of small compared to really big.
Yeah. I think you need to play more than 14 health worth of taunts in the same turn.
Right.
So McBanterFace has a potential lethal here. He could go Expendable Performers and Glide. And then if he hits the DreadEye, which is a little less than 50-50.
Does he need to do this? He's got to work out if he's dead next turn. That's the number one thing to do here.
There's 0 ways he dies next turn.
All right, then I like it.
Wait, there's 12 on board. Cariol plus double Librum of Wisdom would be 6 more. That'd be 18.
It's pretty close.
It's not lethal with Fury, right? Because you can only hero power 3 times and then Fury. Yeah, it's definitely not.
Oh, wait. No.
No, it's not.
No,
It's not.
You're trying to trick me into going along with that.
Enjoy your final
Quicker. Meanwhile, GamerRvg just waiting to have his turn.
Yeah. This is going to be tough for McBanterFace now, isn't it?
I feel that way as well. Oh. He doesn't know.
Yeah, because
He's lacking
Fire
critical
DreadEye would have been lethal
information.
next turn, so that's not in the hand. There's one talented Arcanist, Rushrock Viper, and Magtheridon left as minions. Whew.
I think it's GamerRvg is frantically searching for, well, McBanterFace has just set up lethal, surely, here.
But with what?
Well, that's why he's frantically searching, right? He's going through his mind. You can see the puzzlement. It's like, what is it? What am I missing? And in the end, he'll
Would have
conclude, I'm just going to jam Mutinous.
Actually, there could be lethal. Rank 3 Fury, Hero Power, and... Oh, no, it would be 1 off. Wait. Yeah, it'd be 1 off. And Aldraki Warblades would be 1 off.
Jam it, jam it, jam it.
Illidari Studies. There's still 1 Illidari Studies left in the deck for McBanterFace. That could find something. I think you taunt. You taunt. Yeah. Taunt is just safe.
Feels that way. So with all that in mind, maybe McBanterFace should have gone for the glide into DreadEye last turn.
Or just not really done anything.
Or that, yeah.
It could have just completely... I guess, no, you can't completely pass the turn.
You had to do something, right? Yeah.
You had to do something, yeah. I wouldn't have minded the glide, though, because, like, there's nothing good in your hand anyway.
aim for the wheel.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, because that was lethal. There was exactly 14 health, and the Felfire DreadEye would have allowed him to fit in all the hero powers and kill him.
Yep, so... And this hasn't looked great since, right? It's not... And nothing shocking's happened.
Yeah.
There's not something crazy we're missing here, like he's playing double of one of the combo pieces or something weird, right?
Nope. Okay, Talented Arcanist, Immolation Aura. Illidar says this could be lethal. It's not lethal, but it's a lot of stuff on board.
This is an insane way to start this final match of the day. Oh.
Did he get the Vilephiend Trainer off? Yep. All right. That's it. That's all of the stuff from McBanterFace, essentially. The last 2 cards are Need for Greed and Rustrot Viper.
They don't sound helpful.
They're helpful if, like, Carol had come out here. So, GamerRvg is the Stoneheart Vindicator will pull a oh no, there's 2 noble mounts. And a Libra of Wisdom left. Also, going back a few turns, there's a Mr. Smite in this list. So he could have been dead on that turn where he had 2 expendable performers.
Oh yeah, fair. It all makes sense now.
I think GamerRvg is still dead. Yep, still dead.
Boshty bosh 6. Yeah. Wait, hang on.
Still dead.
7, 8. Plus a million.
Still dead.
Is a million.
Still dead. Still dead.
Needs more.
Still dead.
Do that. Get it over 12. Get it over 12 is
Still dead.
interesting. And
Still dead.
then he's got 2 divine shields.
Still dead.
2 divine shields, but they unstack simultaneously, so that's not good.
Yep.
12
dead.
is not 13, so 1 plus 12, 13. You're going to have 8 plus 5, that's a lot of damage, that's more than 9, but hang on, what if forgets to use a hero power?
Nope. He literally only needed to use 1 hero power. He didn't need to reset his hero power at all.
Can I have my fun?
Oh, dead. All right. So that was actually well played by McBanterFace. The expendable performer's turn, he kind of had to, because Mr. Smite could have been in hand, and he would have died if he didn't hit exactly. No, because if he hits Fellfire, he still could have glided that turn, right, and tried to hit Fellfire DreadEye. That was the argument for lethal. But he couldn't have done nothing from his
Right, because the DreadEye is actually kind of a dead card after the performers have gone anyway. To some extent, I know it's not totally. Yeah. So you might as well.
Yeah, but that's the only argument. But still well played. Getting the Illidar studies there at the end to get more minions on board. Vile Fiend Trainer ended up being a really good pick because it allowed him to have the 1/1s on board to be able to rip off the Divine Shield. And that was the big difference maker there. If that was like any other card from Illidar studies, he might have won because he doesn't get the hero power resets. Or can't rip off the Divine Shield.
Where was the glide?
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it doesn't.
Does it matter?
I'm just thinking it might matter because of giving your opponent the stuff that you're trying to avoid giving your opponent.
Yeah, but you don't know what they have anyway.
Well, it's McBanterFace, and they've played that game for a long time. He might have decent read.
Okay.
Hard
well,
to
he
reconstruct
knew
now, but
yeah, he knew there was another taunt minion, right?
Sure.
No, he didn't. He didn't because well, he knew one was a rush minion. He knew that the Blade Master Samurai was there.
But does he know there is no smite, for instance, that sort of thing? By not being dead.
He can narrow it down, but he doesn't know that there's guaranteed no smite there. He knew that one of those cards was Blade Master Samurai, and one of them. No, because the Devout Pupil was the Divine Shield minion from Varian was a Devout Pupil. The Taunt minion from Varian was a Devout Pupil. So he saw both of those. The only card he knew that was in the hand was Blade Master Samurai.
Okay.
So. But we shall move on. Now it's time for a Libram Paladin mirror match.
My favorite, TJ. I always tell you off camera how much I love these. Right, so one thing that sometimes happens in these, but not so much as it used to because the decks are more consistent with card draw now, is one player gets all their stuff and or gets the curve and the other one gets nothing. Right? That's just those games take 4 turns or 6 turns. Remember many times in older Master Tours where one person just gets a minion, puts stuff on it, and wins the game. That doesn't happen so much anymore, I don't think, because of the card draw is so good in Paladin now. So after that, it becomes very much a grind fest at times.
Well, let's take a step back, okay, and take stock of the hands here.
All right.
GamerRvg was on the play. Good. Didn't have a 1-drop. Bad. McBanterFace on the coin. Meh. Does have a 1-drop.
Uh-huh.
Good.
Also,
Could also coin 1. And does. Because he's got a 2 and a 3. Very nice.
Uh-huh. So what you're saying is this could be one of those games where one of the players gets nothing and the other one gets everything.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. I've taken the stats well and truly on, like you said, to take stats and...
Oh, wow. This is the oh, okay. Blademaster Samuro, though. A comeback mechanism. So we'll refer to it in the biz.
Comeback mechanism. Is that what it's referred to in the biz? I guess it is, yeah.
Yep. Also occasionally referred to as a swing card.
Is that because he's swinging a giant weapon?
That's part of it, sure.
It's not too heavy.
Okay, good. Glad I understand everything.
Okay, there's the elusive 1-drop.
Now it's decision from McBanterFace. He knows that Samuro is the only thing that can stop him here. Obviously, that's total exaggeration, but in terms of putting it across in 280 characters or less, that's where I'm at.
Noble Mount. Yeah, McBanterFace is probably going to be playing around the Samuro. So he wants to keep at least one of his minions healthy to the Samuro.
Good one.
Well, he can't. He can't do that, right? Oh, yeah, he can. You trade in the 1/2.
Yes, that's
and
what I was
then you
thinking.
noble mount the Trog.
Yeah, that's what I reckon is the best play. Yeah, you're sacrificing a minion to play around a card that might not even be there, but it's so strong anyway, and if it is there, it's so strong anyway.
Bannerface is clean. Okay, Lightforge Cariel, another. I don't know if it's a comeback mechanism or a swing card, but it is just a good card.
It's like a braking mechanism. It doesn't break anything. It just puts the brakes on. Everything stops, grinds to a halt, waits for the game to restart on your terms.
Yeah.
Not as in it's broken. Of course, yeah. That's a Shaman card.
True strength comes from
I think you're perfectly fine with giving more Trogs here.
Yeah, a lot of buffs have been used, I guess. How many more?
Blademaster Samuro, which is at 2 attack, which can kill all of the Trogs.
Yeah, but are you fine playing Samuro? I guess you should be.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, give Trogs. And tell your opponent you have clear, but yeah. What else can you do?
It's 1 damage, and it's kind of a necessity to play this buff, right? I don't know if it tells McBanterFace anything. McBanterFace has already acknowledged the existence of Blademaster Samuro based on the play last turn.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder.
Can he now get anything big enough in the way of the Samuro, like this pupil?
Yep. Can Libra of Wisdom trade the Trog over the Aldor Attendant, throw the 3/2 into the 4/2, or 3/1 into the 4/2, and then play a Devout Pupil.
Uh-huh.
Let me think.
And then Blademaster Samuro is, once again, not that good.
Comeback mechanism that only comes back against certain things. Otherwise, it would be really good. Comeback mechanism that always comes back from would be like every deck. So, get in front, huh? If I care. So, yep, that looks decent. It's also not particularly resource intensive to do it. Oh, that. Good luck, Samuro. Good luck.
Yeah, this is just a more efficient play than I had mentioned.
Getting the extra reductions on the pupil from where you were and leaving the 3-1 up.
Yep.
But the same idea.
Very cleanly done. Same idea, just better.
Oh, GamerRvg. The thing is, he's only got Blade Master Samurai. Kind of wants to play it just because. Oh. He's in trouble, isn't he?
Yeah.
I'm looking at horrible things like a Noble mounting a 1/1, which is just ugh.
I must move quickly.
This is a disaster.
It's an absolute. This is a sort of game that used to happen fairly often that I was saying doesn't happen anymore, and now it's happening to prove me wrong. So I was right, but I was wrong, but I was right, but I was wronger. And he's just having to. He's tried really hard not to go through the motions here and just play a horrible turn, but that's what he was given. $15. He doesn't. He can't kill, so he has to. He can get rid of some of the trogs because he knows that Samo is not only now almost certainly there, but also it doesn't matter if it's not. So just make sure you leave lethal on board for those occasions and just trade everything off so your opponent can't buff anything. Now there's no buffs for the Samurai apart from one Librum. Librum. Lebroom. Oh, there's Lebroom off the top.
He can stay alive on board.
Show us the stay alive play.
Play Master Samurai and you attack the True Seeker. Leave 9 damage on board. You'd have to Libra of Wisdom.
That's alive on board, but he probably suspects he's not alive.
Yeah, and he's gonna play Lebroom to damage the Devout Pupil in order to make Lightforce Cariel next turn just the Battle Cry, deal with it. And now we're looking at a potential lethal here with the Stoneheart Vindicator.
Yep.
It's not that likely. He's already used a Hand of Adal, so there's 1 Wisdom, 1 Hand of Adal, 1 Noble Mount left in the deck. So it is a 1 in 3 for lethal. It is not the strongest play, though, which is why he's hesitating. Because if he doesn't hit it, his turn becomes a little bit weaker. The strongest play would just be to Libra Vote, because that would still set up for lethal next turn. And if Lightforge Cariel was in the hand, would he have a 2-turn?
Let me think.
Almost certainly. Yeah, I think you just push face and then Libram of Hope the Devout People.
Are you scared of any buffs going on the Samurai in that way? Are you scared of Cariel into Samurai? So what I'm wondering is, if you trade the 4/2 into the Samurai, push face with a Trog, heal the Trog, you're still representing lethal, but they haven't got anything on board.
Are you representing lethal, though? Wouldn't be.
4+2. Maybe you're not anymore at that point. Yeah, you're 1 off, right? So.
Well, he's not representing lethal this way either. So actually the play would be to heal the Trog. Yeah, the play is actually to heal the Trog. Because now if Cariel comes down, it kills the Trog.
Right.
And he could trade the Samuro over the Devout People to kill that as well. If you heal the Trog, the Blademaster Samuro has nothing to trade over.
Yes.
It can't kill the Libram of Hope. The Trog lives, and that would be exactly 7 damage because it rounds up. So it'd be 5+8. So, yeah, healing the Trog is actually just the better play there, because now it's 4+1.
Cool. Still, obviously, a lot to do, but yeah.
Wait, is it still potential lethal? You can get odd numbers here. So if you Libram the Hope, that becomes 5 damage. And then you Stonehearth Vindicator and hit Hand of Vidal and bring that up to 3, it becomes 2. So if this Stonehearth Vindicator hits Libram of, or Hand of Vidal, it's still lethal. Okay, it's not lethal anymore. Because now you can't make an odd number.
Right. For that extra point of damage. So you needed the +2 because now they're both odd numbers, so you can't get to the next odd number, blah, blah, blah.
So that's potentially a missed opportunity for McBanterFace.
I feel so, yeah.
I don't know if GamerRvg has enough oomph to stabilize here.
Variant or something might have been interesting. Probably not, actually.
Can Attendant, Hope, and Wisdom. Still not dead, but constantly fighting from behind from this stage. And there are no Barovs available.
I think McBanterFace wins next turn almost always because of the broom plus several minions in hand. Seems to have a lot of options to remove stuff there.
I cannot wait to read these.
So yeah, this is just not going to work very well because of the broom plus his own Libram.
Yeah, yeah. That's lethal. Yep. Exact lethal, actually. Libra of Hope, Libra of Wisdom, Broom, trade over, and then you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Exactly 9.
Yep. Yep. All right, 2-0 to McBanterFace in 2 really grindy games, but to be fair, GamerRvg was kind of dead here on turn 3.
Yeah, it's so hard to come back, especially considering the way his deck is built. He doesn't have Libra of Justice, doesn't have Lord Barov, had used Blade Master Shamro. Very difficult to come back from that situation, even with the Lightforge Carrier reducing the damage taken. Just would have been nearly impossible. It's hard to picture like a perfect draw in that scenario. So, McBanterFace 2-0 up.
So we're going to change the pace. Have some good old-fashioned piratey questy warrior.
Yep. And this is probably the weak link of the deck, considering the lineups.
Yeah, considering the lineups, I agree. Yes, but it's one of those decks that sometimes just gets it done, right? I know it's got pretty bad matchups here, but sometimes you just hit them with some pirates and the game ends.
Yep. And this is nearly similar to what we saw earlier with LnguageHackr and Fled. Yeah, LnguageHackr Fled, except -1 Rustrot Viper, +1 Colt Neophyte. Similar tech cards, and they serve as disruption, but just do it in an entirely different way. But I highlighted here all of the disruption cards because the rest of the deck is just what Quest Warrior is, right? That's the deck. But Cold Neophyte, Rustrot Viper, Mutinous are the tech.
I really like this Neophyte.
Yeah.
Because I found with this deck, sometimes you do... Oh, sorry, the times you do stuff on turn 2, you seem to do really well. Because there's so many 3-drops that sometimes turn 2 is a little bit of a void. So having an extra 2-drop just really give yourself a chance to curve out, as well as it obviously being a really useful tech card in a million different situations. I really like it. I think it's a really good plan. I like it a lot. I mean, the downside is it's not a pirate. It's kind of weird looking in there. Doesn't really fit the theme of the deck, but the upside is it is a 2-drop, and I think that's quite a strong upside.
Well met.
Also against Druid, obviously you just take a turn off them.
I cannot wait to read these.
This is a draw GamerRvg. I mean, he wanted it now, but he definitely wanted it last game.
That was a mistake.
Duff.
Armor up on 2. Just Quest Warrior things.
Should have added some more 2-drops to his deck.
How many actually are there? There's a good amount, huh?
There's 7, I think,
2,
now.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. Would have also accepted a Bloodsail deckhand.
Okay.
Oh, there's one.
We're gonna need more gunpowder.
The Defias Cannoneer will just get eaten up.
Yeah.
Pretty good play here, where you just Aldor Attendant, Hero Power, Libra of Wisdom. Actually, no, you get the Noble Mount because you're going to be coining True Seeker next turn. Yeah, that makes more sense. You don't want a Hero Power.
Oh, now he draws the 2-drops.
I mean, the curve is not terrible from this point out for McBanterFace. Like, Sword Eater's good to start chopping away at this board a little bit. Foxtail Freebooter can come down to clean things up as well.
You can coin here, right? You get a 5-drop or less almost always next turn. And unlucky if you don't, I guess. Not almost always, actually. Probably about 2/3 the time.
Wretched story.
Quest is ticking along. And then the game will begin in earnest when the Juggernaut comes to play. Who can... And it's probably the Paladin, but who can outvalue the other one?
Yeah. I actually think you want to use the weapon here, right?
I do too, yeah. Keep that taunt up. It's really protecting your 4-2 quite well.
Yeah, because you have another... He's worried about his curve, I think. He wants a weapon next turn to be able to play Freebooter, but he has the Hatchet. So it's just if he would want to spend the mana on it, but he could go 1 for the weapon, Foxtail Freebooter, and Stormwind Freebooter. Oh god, so many Freebooters.
Well, ridiculously, the Trog plus the Broom plus the Hero Power is a clear. He may not want to use the Trog part, he probably will, but it's just pretty ridiculous those 3 cards clear this board.
Yeah. However...
He's out of stuff.
Yeah, he's out of stuff, and actually it's not a clear next turn. I was thinking he could Hatchet Freebooter. That's 5 total damage. But I mean, look at this resource advantage that McBanterFace has. Like,
this makes no sense.
I know, 6 start, but then just fizzled out. Now GamerRvg really needs something good. Talking Bannerman, Hand of a Doll. Even like Devout Pupil at this point would be welcomed. Libra of Hope. Libra of Hope would be playable next turn. Costs 5 right now.
And if he plays Libra of Hope next turn, Mr. Smite is Mr. Eaton. Oh, actually, no, but Banterface is going to complete quest. What am I talking about? He's just going to spam pirates and try and get a Juggernaut here, isn't he? As quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Fun though it is to play Mutinous on 7. When when you have carefully collected your pirates in a line like this.
Yeah.
Just want to get your pirates out there. Pirate some things. Right clicking.
Ooh, is that? Ooh, is that? Ooh, it is. It's Lifeforge Cariel.
Half speed Hearthstone.
Next 2 turns are spoken for.
Right, if you're new to Hearthstone, you should still be able to work out this play.
Oh! Yes!
Yes. The stuff.
I think Smite going face is smart here, especially with Lifeforge Cariel being able to come down and clean things up next turn. Makes sense. So first pirate played will fire the cannons. So you can Foxel. Ooh. Foxel freebooter the 4-2, and then you need one cannon to hit the smite to be able to trade over it with the Bloodsail.
Wait.
What?
I'm confused. Just give me a second. My brain's. Oh yeah, because you can't. I see. Yeah, yeah.
Ooh. And still trade over the smite with the freebooter.
Yeah. Okay.
The next turn, Rakara can come down, which is Cargo Guard and then Rakara. There's one more card's needed. All this stuff's going to go away, however. And GamerRvg is very close to just winning.
Yeah, but Juggernaut's the thing. I guess it's just winning is just kill them before they kill you. 27 versus 9. Weapon, alright. Yeah.
It's 7 to face. It's down to 7. Could push face, but it wouldn't set up for a 2-turn lethal unless a buff was picked up off the top. GamerRvg might be tempted to push all face here, though, just because he is so close. Yeah. And the weapon almost certainly go face as well. Because
I think he kind of had to.
If McBanterFace has Pirate plus Rakara, he can't play it. It just happens to be Cargo Guard, however.
Which does help a lot, obviously, because he doesn't die. Well, he'll die to some buffs. We can see he doesn't die, but...
I think he's got to take that risk.
He's got that wry smile on his face that sort of has that... Okay, I made the decision, I'm taking this risk. Now, can I find anything else? Am I missing anything obvious? Because that's the one when you first watch Hearthstone and you watch somebody just not play around a card that kills you, you're like, oh, dummy. and over time you realise, actually, no, that was the correct play all along.
Gotta get through me.
Can't play around everything, you're in deep trouble. Yeah, GamerRvg shaking the head there because he's got to play one more turn.
Wait, McBanterFace is dead.
Yes, Libram.
Oh, he's not dead. That was on. Yeah,
it's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, he wanted to play around dying to buffs.
Yes,
which is smart.
Cool.
All right, that's big.
Shivery. It's shivered. Not now, it's not.
Oh, that is...
Oh, but McBanterFace might be forced here into eating it if GamerRvg plays the Trog.
So you don't play the Trog?
He doesn't know there's a Mutinous. Actually, he might have an idea.
Oh no. Oh,
no. Not like this.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh. Oh. What?
Oh,
a taunt as well.
Naruto. GamerRvg is like, even if it's not a minion, Mutinous is just more power than the Sword Eater.
Yeah.
It's been buffed twice, I think. So it's a 6/4.
Plus, Variant's a really bad card to happen to you here. It's sort of one of the cards, if you're going to play around a card just for the sake of it, that's kind of the one. Oh, the McBanterFace is back now. And that's just... grim. The GamerRvg.
I just don't think you ever play the Trog there. Like, what's it doing?
Yeah, I agree. Oh, do I agree? I mean, I think I agree, but also...
What's it doing? What's the Trog doing?
Every point's kind of crucial right now, right?
You just got to think to yourself, like, okay, well, how do I lose this game? Well, my Baron didn't get Mutinous, and so if I can make that a 50-50 instead of a 100% chance.
Yeah.
And Mutinous is sitting there since the opening hand. What else could it be?
No, I agree.
He passed turn 2. He armored up.
I think it's because you see your opponent on an odd number of health, and you think, oh, I want that extra 1 attack, honestly. You make sure you hero power every turn, and you should be good. Kill their things, hero power every turn, and there's no way. Oh, there's a smite in the paladin. You got to make sure you don't
played it.
All right, then there's nothing. As long as the minions die.
There's literally nothing. Like, I just don't think GamerRvg has any way to win from this position. Even if you pick up Lady Liadrin, I don't think you can make a big enough thing to withstand a 13-11 Mutinous. I think that's just the game.
Fled, open the hatch.
Yeah, let him up. Blade Master Samro is not enough. I mean, with the hero power, it can clear a lot.
It really can.
But it doesn't clear the Rakara. You'd have to attack into it. And then that's 4. So you're at 9. Plus 7. Plus... Yeah, exactly dead. Exactly dead.
Wow.
Exactly dead, assuming something happens. Assuming any...
Assuming anything occurs. And the game is over.
Yeah.
McBanterFace in the weirdest 3-0 victory, really. Takes it down against his friend and teammate and colleague and playtest partner, GamerRvg.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's a tough decision to make, right? And it still could have ended in Variant being eaten. It just would have been a 50-50. But just a rough way to go out for GamerRvg. Like, so close in so many of those games and just wasn't able to quite get there. Brutal.
But a good series from McBanterFace, just showing almost a good example there of why McBanterFace is so good. Everything was clean. They're playing against a good opponent, playing the same decks, basically. Obviously, game 2, GamerRvg had no chance at all. But just those little edges, just those little tiny details in the play making difference in some of those games.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Like, McBanterFace consistently, like, just finds the best version of whatever play he decides. He never leaves, like, any points of damage on the table or any outs for his opponent. Like, even on the, you know, going back to... like the devout people play in the previous match.
Right,
just
doing
the exact same thing that most players would do, except squeezing in a little bit more Librams and making his second devout people cheaper. Didn't even matter, right? Same outcome, but it was just better. And
it kept him a Vindicator on the board. It kept him a 3-1 that me and you had sort of just thrown to the wolves because we didn't go one step further. So how can we save this Vindicator?
Yeah,
I probably would have won the game as well on that game, but...
Yeah, but it was like he was consistently playing around Blade Master Samro, and so a lot of players would get in the mindset of, well, my 3-1 doesn't matter, right? It's going to die to Blade Master Samro.
Right.
But even if you weren't keeping the 3-1 alive, that play's just more efficient. Or if it was the same amount of damage, because it makes the second devout people, wherever it is in the deck, cheaper. If you were to draw next turn, it opens up your plays. Or in that specific game, like killing the 1-1, going down to 1 health and killing the 1-1 with Divine Shield, knowing that there was a very fringe out for, if you don't kill that 1-1, for a GamerRvg to win the game. Just clean play. Just all the way across the board. Clean play. Nicely done.
Yeah, I think we're starting to get a better... Last season we sort of said the same thing, but we weren't providing you with examples. But I think this match really showed examples of why McBanterFace is so really good at this game.
Yeah, and we'll be getting to see McBanterFace play again tomorrow. We did have 2 Paladin players make it through, but they were against other Paladin players, so it was guaranteed to have a Paladin player make it through. Not having much success in the other regions, but, you know, we forced it, because Neil and I decided we forced it to happen in Americas. So we got a nice split tomorrow, and still some good deck diversity left remaining as we head to the quarterfinals, but... again, in the weirdest 3-0 we've seen, that was our last match of the day. So, Neil, we're done. And as is customary here at America's Grandmasters, I will give you this opportunity to say whatever you want, whatever's on your mind, before I close out the show.
Sometimes I have a lot to say, but today... no, I'm not going to do the thing. You thought I was going to do the thing. No, today I'm not going to, but I'm going to talk all the time. But now I might do it because I've seen you react both directions. No, I'm done. Good day's action. I think tomorrow will be even better because we're going to have more diversity in the lineups, fewer mirrors for you. I haven't checked, but I'm almost sure that's true. And so, yeah, we'll see you then.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you very much, Neil, for those final words of wisdom. But like I said, we are done. APAC goes live in about 9 hours. I always say 9 hours, regardless if it's 9 hours or not. They'll be back in about 9 hours. And we will return tomorrow at noon Pacific or 3 p.m. Eastern, or somewhere in between if you're in one of the other time zones in the Americas. But those are the two that most people use, so those are the two that I'm going to use. But thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow for more Hearthstone action.
Fist bump and he did it! Oh my gosh. 72 damage both times. And both times he left damage on the board.
Oh no! Where is Card's green? Right from where is Card's green? He got there! Oh. Sick!
It's so powerful, all these rushes. I can't even believe the value he's got.
Labby with a pop-off. Well deserved. He stays in for another series.